Getting nasty on a Friday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsham, Anthony Stalter. 203. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. If you were there at the game last night, you booed Jordan Kyrou.
Why wouldn't you cheer on the goals?
I'm sure they did both. I'm sure Blues fans. Well, they did. You heard it.
I was there.
And Jamie, you were there.
Yeah.
You saw it.
I heard it and saw it.
Yep. Good win last night for the old Blues.
It was a good win.
4-2.
That Ottawa team has been struggling a little bit, but that's a hell of a roster that they have. And look, obviously a lot going on in the last 48 hours for the Blues. So I thought it was a great team win. I did. I thought that they from the very first drop of the puck, I mean, at one point it was like 15-2, the shots on goal for the Blues, which we hadn't seen a lot of this year as far as the outnumbering of scoring opportunities or shots on goal. I thought there was hustle. I thought there was some compete out there. I mean, Jordan Binnington had another fine game. Tyler Tucker steps up and takes on the land of the Giants, Brady Tkachuk himself. I'm sure he had to be thinking to himself, what the hell did I get myself into here? But the young man held his own very well. So all around, it was a very successful game for the Blues. Drew Bannister, interim head coach, gets his first victory behind the bench. So, yeah, everything's great, Anthony. I don't know why you're looking at me like that.
Here's Jordan Kyrou as he clarifies his comments on Craig Berube.
Obviously respect Chief, he's been my coach for the whole time I've been here, right? So, I respect everything he's done here. He's done a great job. He won a cup, right? So all I really meant was, I'm just trying to focus on my future and, focus on what I can do to help my team win. So that's all I really meant.
All right, there you go.
What do you think, Anthony?
I think he probably should have led with that. Probably should have said that yesterday. Had he said that yesterday, everything would have been fine.
You know what?
Water under the bridge now, though. Moving on.
Water under the bridge. And I've been thinking about this since it happened yesterday and got to the conclusion that Jordan Kyrou probably would have been better off had he just said, asked about the relationship. Had he just said, yeah, you know what? We didn't get along. It wasn't great, but I wish him all the best.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because that would have been like, oh, he's being honest, but at least he said, I wish him all the best.
Yeah.
Might not even mean it, but he said it.
It's like, at that point, I think every member of the media would be like, wow, we knew it.
Okay,
all right,
yeah.
Moving on.
Right. You're
Instead,
right.
the no comment.
Followed by a comment.
The no comment leaves way too much available. Even if he would have full stop after no comment. Like, ooh.
Sure.
Meanwhile, he just means I really don't have anything to say, or I don't want to say what I think. We're not sure, but we're going to spin it however we want because he said no comment, which means there must be one in there.
Right.
I think last night, you mentioned it earlier this week about Patrick Mahomes, how he's sort of let things just stew in him, right? And then it boiled over. I think Blues fans have been somewhat fed up a little bit with Jordan Kyrou's play since he's been on the team, and I think this was that tipping point.
He's been on the team, what, all 5 years?
Well, at least
They're fed up with a guy who's playing a game?
Well, Jamie, you know what I'm talking about. Like the work ethic, there's this thought oh, he's not working hard, all that stuff. And then this was that moment where it was like, all right, let's just get at him.
Yeah, listen, if anybody...
This was the tipping point.
Sure.
And I think, Marshy, to your point, too, that if anybody had an axe to grind regarding Jordan Kyrou, or if they've been unhappy about anything at all, yesterday was their moment to be heard. And they did. The arena was full of boos. It was awkward. It was weird. In all of my years of playing professional sports, covering professional sports, I have not seen the home team player get booed like that.
Yeah.
In his barn.
So Marsh just brought up my comments about Patrick Mahomes and the whole Kadarius Toney situation. And if you missed it on Monday, I'll just summarize here. I said that whole thing, his outburst was not about Kadarius Toney.
Right.
It may seem like it was. It wasn't. To me, it was Patrick Mahomes, weeks and months of frustration finally building up, and it just erupted. And he decided to just use that moment to get it all out. What he's really upset about is that you've got your offense isn't as good now. You're dropping passes. That's what he's really ticked off at. Last night, I don't think it was Blues fans just being frustrated with Kyrou. I think that was there. But that was, Jamie, you phrased it perfectly. You said that there was their opportunity to be heard.
Yeah.
Fans were pissed off because you let go of the only head coach that won you a Stanley Cup. So everybody was there. First opportunity. Kyrou, unfortunately, was the intended target, but I think that the boos could have gone up to the front office and the press box.
Anthony,
They did.
They did. No, they did. They had a picture or a video of Doug Armstrong.
Yeah, they booed him
before the. Yeah,
sure.
Well, I thought you didn't know the way you just acted.
Well, no, but we're talking about, but we're focusing on Kyrou. I'm expanding it out to it was the overall frustration of letting go of Chief is my point.
Yeah.
So. Now it's out. It's done. You're moving on. I think it would be overkill if the next home game you did the same thing. I think we can all move forward here. You ticked off. You got it out. I had no issue with it. I had no issue with the boos. And I've often said I'm not a big boo guy. I think it's kind of lame. Not last night. I thought it was justified. Go for it. Let it fly. Now let's learn from it. No.
I can see you. Boo.
No.
Killian, boo with me.
No, he's not. I'm not going to tell my kid to boo.
Why am I booing,
Boo
Daddy?
this man.
Just do it.
Just do it, son. No, I mean, and now Kyrou has an opportunity, too, to learn from it.
Well, and not that he made amends last night with his comments following the game, but I think the moment that you can't fake, that you can't BS, is the moment he wells up.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the other stuff, as far as I respect Chief and all this stuff, you can always, he's covering up, and now that he got busted, and you can't. And Jordan Kyrou doesn't seem to me like an Oscar award-winning actor.
Yeah.
Okay? He hasn't been formally trained, to my knowledge. Maybe. Don't know. But him choking up a little bit, wiping away tears, was a moment of a 25-year-old that realized, I made a big mistake. I need to grow up. I need to pick my words, but I screwed up. I got to do better. And it hit him on the moment. The media were surrounding him like it was a mosh pit of media around Jordan Kyrou. And so I think that if nothing else, the impact of that situation, the teachable moment, the learning moment of all that was there for Jordan Kyrou. Let's hope he does take that and continue to evolve. As a fan base now, I think you got to let it go.
Agreed.
I think you do. You got your pound of flesh. You got to make him feel terrible, which everybody did, and then he broke down. I mean, that's if you're looking for a payoff, that was the payoff, in my opinion.
And now you build him back up now.
Sure.
Because he is on this team and is your favorite team in this city. You should want your players to succeed because it ends up being your happiness in a sense. You don't want them to fail because then you just are a miserable person.
Look, I agree with a lot of what you just said.
There'll be some that want to be that way.
Well, but I also think too. I mean, Jamie, you got 4 kids that you know of. As soon as you became a father, that responsibility hits you pretty hard. I mean, I think it does for all parents. Oh crap, I can't do a lot of things that I was doing beforehand, man. I got a lot of responsibility now. I got little ones here that are. Boy, I guess they come first now. Once responsibility smacks you upside the head, you got to change.
Yeah.
And I think Jordan Kyrou, maybe up until this point, the responsibility didn't smack him in the face. You got an 8x8 contract. You're one of the top players on the team. You're paid like it. Doug Armstrong gave you a Brinks truck worth of money here to produce and to perform and to not. Yeah, to wear the jersey and all that, the sweater with pride, and wear the logo with pride. Okay, so now your opportunity moving forward, Marsh, you're right. You should root for him, but he also, in my opinion, should take that responsibility, not with a grain of salt, but as much as it's weighing on him, and turn it now into a positive himself.
Yeah, he's got to. And look, it is the leadership group. So I can't tell you how many people I had conversations with yesterday. Thank you, St. Louis, for letting me know that there are so many Blues fans out there. I mean it. Like every corner, every store, every gas station, somebody had a question regarding what was going on, whether it was Coach Berube or Jordan Kyrou. And I don't blame them. It was the hot topics of the 24 to 48 hours. Now, at this point here, you gotta get behind the young man. Now this is the time for St. Louis to make him their own. Yeah, everybody, the fans here in St. Louis, I live here in St. Louis, and I've lived here for a long time. There's a tremendous amount of pride in the fan base here, whether it's Cardinals or Blues or both, of making players their own and then wanting them to succeed. This guy screwed up. He's a young kid. He said something he shouldn't have, or he didn't say enough of what he really truly thought. Either way, booed the hell out of him last night. He broke down. Now's the time. Pick him up.
And we've seen this fan base do that. I remember back in 2018, Jay Bouwmeester was a guy that the fans wanted to run out of the building. And now he doesn't have to buy a beer anytime he's in town because of the player and his impact on that Cup team. But he was a player that a lot of people weren't a fan of, and that quickly changed because of his play. And I think that same thing can happen with Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah, and, everybody talks about the leadership, right? The captain should get in his face. Did Shen punch him in the mouth and all this stuff, right?
Sometimes you don't have to.
The one that didn't happen, you don't have to do that. And two, but now the leadership group, quite honestly, can help him through this. Mm-hmm. And not rally around him, but just drag him back into the group and somewhat protect him.
Yeah. You don't always have to go the tough route.
No.
Sometimes you look at it and you say, okay, that hit him. All right, now let's move forward here.
It clearly hit him, trust me.
Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, it's Fast Line on 101 ESPN. All right, so we let off with Kyrou. I do want to get into a lot of the things that Jamie was trying to talk about with the Blues on ice. So what were some of the differences? Only one game. That's it.
Stanley Cup or bust now, Anthony.
It's the only game that we have to break down in Drew Bannister's interim time. So what were some of the differences, noticeable differences that Jamie saw last night with the new head coach? We'll get into that next in the Fast Line on 101 ESPN. Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, that's got to be your spot this weekend. If you're needing a new car, why don't you do this? Tonight, go to AutoCentersNissan.com, peruse the vehicles that they have there, and it might take you a little while, so get comfy, maybe pour yourself a bourbon like Jamie would, and, like I would too, let's be honest. And look over the vehicles. They have over 700 vehicles on their lot out in Herculaneum, but you can start at AutoCentersNissan.com. Then when you head in there tomorrow and looking to do a test drive, you'll see that they have no money down, no payments for 90 days, and 0% APR for up to 5 years as some of the options throughout the month of December. You're going to love working with Auto Centers Nissan because they get the best people. That includes not only the best salespeople that make kind of a fun environment for you when you are purchasing a vehicle, but also the best financing department that you're going to find in a dealership. Unbelievable financing options right now available. Couldn't come at a better time with rates being where they are. Plus, you can enter to win a brand new Polaris ATV. Grab a hot dog just for stopping by out at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Tell them Stalter sent you. Check out their new Nissans, their pre-owned vehicles, their 30-day return promise, their free lifetime complimentary warranty. It's all there at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum.
And a long shot deflected down and wide. 2 seconds left, and that'll do it. You can bring up the Zamboni. The Blues beat the Ottawa Senators by a score of 4-2. And congratulations to Drew Bannister, who earns 2 points in a Blues victory in his first game as head coach of the St. Louis Blues.
Chris Kerber right here on the home of the Blues, 101 ESPN and Blues Radio Network. Jamie?
Yeah.
What'd you see last night? Differences.
Well,
First game.
as far as systematically, I didn't really see anything different.
No, it doesn't have to be systematically. Like what stood out to you then? How about that?
Well, good
Forget
start.
what's different.
Big start. You know,
Can we get a new mic maybe at some point?
well, if you quit touching it with your
I'm gonna
microwave
touch it.
fingers.
I'm gonna touch the mic. All right?
Stop slapping it.
That's
I
gonna
don't know
happen.
what
Bag
you
of
do
wine,
that for.
Anthony.
That's gonna happen. I'm gonna touch the mic.
Whether it's buzzing or it's
You're giving me the problem. I want the solution.
whapping you in the face, like maybe it goes straight up like that because all you do is play with it.
That's how it's supposed to work, my man. And it still works pretty damn good.
You're damn right it does. Thank you, mentality.
Thank you, mentality.
That being said, the Blues last night.
You're always there for me.
Yeah, you're my boy. Anyways, where the hell am I now?
Blues.
Blues.
What's
Where
next
are
team?
we? Where are we? No, last night, what was noticeable for me was you get a bump. You get the new coach bump. Players come out like they're on fire. Skating, passing, shooting, shot after shot after shot. Like I couldn't believe it. At one point, I think it was 10-0. The shots on goal for the Blues. I was like, this is reversed.
This is different.
It was. So that's the one thing that I noticed overall was just that the compete level was there. It was pretty darn close to a full 60-minute effort. Like it really was. There were some spots in the game where Ottawa had a push, but that's what they're there for. They're the opposition. They're supposed to actually try hard too. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that game one in the books under Drew Bannister, to which, hats off to Drew Bannister. And let's, as a fan base, let's try to separate some things here. Being happy for Drew Bannister is not siding with him over Craig Berube.
Sure.
Craig Berube's our guy. I love Craig Berube. He's going to be my friend for life. Bottom line, I think he's an excellent coach. He'll have a job soon, and he's a Stanley Cup champion. Mm-hmm. I don't think I need to say that every single time I'm going to talk about Drew Bannister. Because Drew Bannister, I think in the last 24, 48 hours, has handled this situation pretty good. Think about that for a second. You're Drew Bannister. You've never had the opportunity yet to coach the NHL level as a head coach. You're coming in on the heels of one of the most popular sports coaches in St. Louis history. I'm not going to say hockey, sports coaches. That guy was the first one to bring your hockey team a Stanley Cup. He's a big personality. He's the face of the franchise, and you're coming in to replace him. That's not easy. It's not easy. Think about it. It'd be like Anthony Stalter, we fired Howard Stern. You got his job and all his listeners. Good luck. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. Whoa.
Not going to end well.
Compliments to Drew Bannister for coming in, organizing this team the way he wanted it to be organized, working with Steve Ott and Mike Weber and everybody else in the organization to make sure that they were ready to go. And they were. And they had a good game. I thought the power play didn't generate any goals, but the setup looked a lot better, too. And I liked that. The team seemed a little more confident. There was a little more physicality last night. Last night had like the buzzings of a playoff game. It's the Ottawa Senators. We see them twice a year. And it felt like we played, this is life or death. And there were some big hits, scrums, a hell of a fight between Tyler Tucker and Brady Tkachuk. Mm-hmm. So those are the things I noticed.
Well, yeah, I thought that's a good point, too, because I had watched that and like, wow, they're kind of buzzing a little bit. And I wonder if that's because as a player, look, you're a competitor. And you had to also endure how everybody's talking about you fire Craig Berube, not a great decision, all that, and maybe you're starting to hear some of the rumblings too of like, no, this is your fault as a player. Well, that's got to take you off. And you say, okay, watch this. I just hope it's sustainable. And I think you bring up a great point too about Drew Bannister. I remember when Dunk and I took over for Bernie. Bernie had went back to the paper That was his, Bernie, dear friend of mine, Bernie Michaelis, used to be on these airwaves, used to do the midday show. And Bernie he didn't get fired. He decided to go back to the newspaper full time, and then eventually came back to radio and all that. But Dunk and I had that time slot. Bernie, big personality, incredible talent, great show, all that. Dunk and I get paired up together, and the first show we're down at Enterprise Center, and the show goes out.
Oh gosh.
And I remember watching the texters. These are the bums you got to replace Bernie Michaelis, all that. And I just remember, some of it was kind of funny because at least Dunk and I were in it together, and everybody really liked Dunk. And Dunk masked a lot of, he took a lot of the kind of the attention away from me, which is great because, I could just kind of do my thing. But I remember thinking, okay, guys, just give us a shot here. Just give us a shot. You may not like it anyway. You may not like it when it's all said and done, but just give it a shot. So I think we should do that for Drew Bannister too. Let's just see how it goes. He might get let go for the new head coach in 2 months. He might get let go at the end of the year. But let's just see how it goes. Let's give him a shot here. If we don't wind up liking it anyways, fine. But let's give him an honest shake. Even though, like you said, we're all hurting for Chief.
Yeah, we're hurting, but cheer for your team too. If you want the Blues, if you love the Blues, cheer for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter who's behind the bench. Cheer for the team. Because it's inevitable that whoever you love as a head coach is going to be gone one day.
Yeah.
It's the bottom line. If you're a Joel Quenneville lover, what happened there? Gone.
He got fired.
If you're a
Then 1-3
Craig
with
Berube,
Chicago.
Well, he did, but it doesn't matter, Anthony.
Okay.
If you loved him here, it's inevitable that those coaches have to leave. So one day Craig Berube will be back. I believe it will be to put on a Blues Hall of Fame jacket, as he has already deserved that, in my opinion. And we'll reminisce, and there'll always be Stanley Cup reunion parties, and the Chief will be forever linked to the city of St. Louis, which is a great thing.
I think it's encouraging that a lot of the players on this roster, he's already coached, and he has a pretty damn good record in the AHL. So I'm looking at that, and I think that can translate for the rest of the season because those players are used to a familiar face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well said. All right, Blues Stars pregame tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We also have an NFL game for you, Bengals and Vikings. Ooh, Marsh's Vikings. We never did the Stalter Stackup.
No, yeah. Maybe we should put the Raiders in there.
They looked good last night, huh, boys? 63.
How about them Chargers?
I'm shocked Brandon Staley got fired after that one, huh? In fairness to him, there was a lot of defensive touchdowns that were scored in the second half for the Raiders, but nonetheless, 63 don't look good when you're a defensive coach, huh? So he's let go. So is the GM.
Wait, he's a defensive coach?
Yeah,
well, not anymore.
At least that's what the title says, Jamie. But yeah, he was let go last night. Are we hoping for Bill Belichick in that spot? Let's get into that next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues picked up a 4-2 victory over the Ottawa Senators last night. Drew Bannister, his first win behind the bench for the Blues. We will talk with Drew Bannister at 5:15, so stay tuned for that interview. The Blues will be back in action tomorrow, taking on the Dallas Stars. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. Catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Before the Blues game, we will have NFL action for you. It's the Bengals taking on the Vikings. Pre-game for that one starts at 11:30 right here on 101 ESPN. We're going to dive into the NFL and what we saw last night in the Chargers and Raiders game. Not great. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Little surprised to see that Brandon Staley is now the former head coach of the LA Chargers after his team allowed 63 points to be scored on last night.
63, huh?
Yes, that's it. 63.
Wow.
I stopped watching after it was 42-0 at halftime, Jamie. Boy.
It was 42-0 at halftime?
It was 42-0 at halftime.
My friend had the under.
That ticket could be crossed off or ripped up in the first quarter. So,
wow.
Yeah, the Raiders, for those scoring at home, first quarter they scored 3 touchdowns. Second quarter they scored another 3 touchdowns. They opened up in the third quarter with a Jacoby Myers pass to Devontae Adams.
I mean, why not?
Jacoby Myers plays receiver, by the way. So when they were up 42-0 after halftime, they decided to throw their second, at least of the night, Jacoby Myers pass. So he completes that to Devontae Adams. Finally, the Chargers get on the board after that 49-0 score. They made it 49-7. Raiders scored the next 2 touchdowns. Both, by the way, were defensive touchdowns. Had a 44-yard fumble return for a touchdown and a 16-yard pick six to make it 63-7 before the Chargers made it a game by scoring the final 2 touchdowns, 63-21. So Brandon Staley was fired. Tom Telesco, the general manager, also fired for the Chargers. You had to let both go. Even if you say, the Chargers have a bunch of talent. Yeah, ish. They do. It's sporadic.
So why do you have to let the GM go?
Oh, I think you let the GM go because...
Why? Because he hired a bad coach?
He hired a bad coach, and he didn't put together a roster that was going to win anything long term.
So wait. So he fired the GM because he hired the wrong coach.
Yes.
Or he had to fire the coach, and he put together a bad roster.
Correct.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out why you do that.
Yeah. Typically, that's why you do something like that.
To me, I just fire the coach and go with it. But, whatever. Tomato.
We've seen it before.
You. Tom Curran, who is a reporter who covers the Patriots, he had the report right around mid-season. Remember the Patriots flew out to, I don't know if it was Germany or whatever it was, Germany, beforehand.
Germany.
Yeah, this one really matters for the Patriots as they played the Colts in terms of like Bill Belichick and his job status.
Yep.
However, Tom Curran reported that the Patriots would not fire. Robert Kraft would not fire Bill Belichick midseason. Well, they lost that game. It was ugly. That was the game that Mac Jones threw an interception. He got benched, and then Bailey Zappi, also known as Mac Jones 2, went out and threw another interception. It's been pretty much ugly ever since. Belichick, as Tom Curran's reporting, will not return next year. Will not be retained.
Who will?
Bill Belichick will not be retained.
Who said that?
Tom Curran did. The same guy that had that
I thought you meant it was like reported now. I'm looking for him. Like, what?
No. He's reporting it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sources. It's one of those sources tell me that Bill Belichick will not be with the Patriots next year.
Sources, trust me, bro.
Yeah. I mean, this has been billowing for a while, and we've had the discussions like, do you let him go and all that? And I've said, no, man, he can't. But it's just, apparently it's time.
I told you guys what Pat McAfee did.
Yes.
He had Robert Kraft on the set of College Game Day for the Army-Navy game. And before they let Robert Kraft go, he turned and shook his hand and said, hey, I don't envy you for what you're going to have to do. What's coming up?
Right.
He's like, you don't have to comment on about that, but what's coming up, I don't envy you.
Yeah.
It was very cryptic.
And Kraft just, as you noted, Kraft
He did nothing. He just like, okay, all right. And then Pat McAfee had Bill Belichick on later.
Yeah.
Wearing a helmet.
The Navy helmet. Yeah.
He turned and put the Navy helmet on.
The Jolly Roger
He's
helmet.
like, look at me. I can be fun, San Diego or L.A. San Diego. Why do I do that? I still do that.
That's okay.
I still call them the San Diego Chargers.
That's
Well,
all
they
right.
should be in San Diego.
Yeah.
I think I like them better in San Diego.
for whatever reason.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, I want to see Bill Belichick land with the Chargers. I don't want to see Bill Belichick land with a team that does not have a quarterback. We've seen that. Bill Belichick can still coach. And I think he's one of these guys that's just a football lifer. His father was a football coach. He's been involved in football in some capacity for decades. I don't think this is somebody that's motivated by like surpassing Don Shula and all. I think he's just motivated by coaching football. It's clear like his time in New England's done. The message is stale. He's got to move on. Again, I hope he doesn't move on to a team that doesn't have a quarterback. I think it's going to – it would be interesting if it's the Chargers. I got another team I'm going to throw out to you guys that might be a surprise.
That has a quarterback?
Yeah.
Good.
You want to try a guess now?
I want to try and guess.
Wait. If we're going to play a game, I want to play.
They still have a head coach, but they have a quarterback.
Do they have a good quarterback?
Yes.
And they have a good head coach.
Ish.
Is this quarterback injured at the current moment?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
Buffalo Bills?
Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills.
Can you imagine Belichick going to...
Yes.
Really?
Oh, wow.
To stuff it in their face?
He's going to the Jets. Some people have said if that's where you're going with Aaron
I was
Rodgers.
thinking the Jets.
I've heard this before. Hey, Jets. Yeah, he's not going to the Jets. He hates the Jets. He hates the Jets. That's the organization that he not only left in the lurch, that was the team that also called him out for the Spygate. He ain't going to the Jets. But I could see him stay in the division. If Sean McDermott gets let go by the Bills, I could see him going to Buffalo.
Wow.
And if you're Buffalo, come on.
No, of course you do it. If you're any team, quite honestly, if you're a team that has a coach that you like and Bill Belichick's available, you might fire him.
Sure.
They hate Bill Belichick.
What's that?
They hate Bill Belichick.
Oh, they'll love him when he's wearing that red and blue.
Oh, absolutely.
He already does wear red and blue.
That red and blue, though.
You'll love him when he's jumping through tables.
Exactly.
Which division makes more sense if he wants to go to the playoffs? Easier path. Is it the AFC East or is it the AFC West?
Well, Patrick Mahomes has already gotten Josh McDaniels fired. Now Brandon Staley fired. Nathaniel Hackett kind of got himself fired, but we'll just throw him in there too.
For sure.
I don't think going to the AFC West would be smart for Bill. Again, I would love to see it because he'd be paired with Justin Herbert, and all he has to do is, fix the roster. But
well, I wonder if they fired the GM. I know we were sort of joking about that to start this segment off, but I wonder if they fired the GM because they have it planned to offer Bill the GM spot too.
sure, I also think Tom Telesco, like that had played itself out as well. I never really understood why you would keep one guy and not the other if they came in at a similar time. But that's going to be one of the more interesting storylines if Bill Belichick is in fact relieved of his duties in New England, where he winds up. But I wouldn't sleep on the AFC East. It seems to happen that way. You get a free agent, you get a head coach, you're like, oh, he's going to go someplace, and then he winds up in the same division. Rex Ryan did that. Remember he was the head coach of the Jets, and there was a lot of rumors he'd go someplace else, and he wound up in Buffalo for a year or two. All right, moving on here. Let's get into the Dodgers, who Jamie called this. Did you call this last week or this week that they're going to get Tyler Glassnow?
Oh, they're getting Yamamoto next.
They probably will.
Stop saying
I
that.
can't help myself. And then
putting it into the
and then
ether.
Bellinger. Watch. This is not over, guys. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
What does it mean for the Cardinals? They're screwed next on 101 ESPN.
We are now in December and just a short time away from Christmas Day, and all the holidays are here. Take care of your holiday shopping with a gift that your family will love, not just for this year, but for years to come. That gift is Sound Story. All you have to do is go to mysoundstory.com for more information, but I'll tell you that Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which one of our own, very own interviewers will help you through it. That's Tim McKernan, Randy Carricker, or Anthony Stalter, and they have a conversation with you or your loved one that talks about their life. From childhood to high school to college to jobs to meeting that special someone, all of it is digitally recorded for you and your family forever, for that matter. And all you have to do, too, is go to mysoundstory.com and enter promo code ESPN this holiday to get a special 20% off gift certificate for Sound Story. Again, that's promo code ESPN at mysoundstory.com. Just imagine being able to play audio of your father, your grandfather, to your kids, your grandkids, their kids, whatever it is. You have these stories for life, and that's Sound Story. For you, for them, forever.
Last night were that the Dodgers and Rays were about to agree to a deal that would send Tyler Glasnow to the Dodgers. But our own Jamie Rivers, our baseball guy, well, he called that earlier this week, or maybe even last week. He said Dodgers are going to get Tyler Glasnow. Jamie also reporting that the Dodgers are likely to sign Yamamoto.
Close to closing Yamamoto and Josh Hader.
There you go. Wow. ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Dodgers and right-hander Tyler Glasnow finalizing a 5-year, $135 million contract extension. Last piece of the puzzle for that deal to be completed. Glasnow going to the Dodgers. Manuel Margot also going to the Dodgers. They're going to trade Ryan Pepwoit, who was one of their young starting pitchers. We talked about Pepwoit. If the Cardinals were going to be heavy with trades, and if they lined up with the Dodgers, that was a name that we talked about. Johnny DeLuca also going to the Rays in the Glasnow deal. So Dodgers, as of right now, are destroying the offseason. I'm saying they're winning it. They're just destroying it. Mark Feinsand is also reporting that Yuki Matsui, a 5-time NPB All-Star lefty reliever, visited the Cardinals in St. Louis yesterday. What? 28-year-old has 236 saves and a 2.43 ERA in 10 seasons with the Ratatouille Golden Eagles. I'm probably hacking that up.
The Ratatouille Golden Eagles?
Rasputin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No. He's considered one of the better free agent bullpen options. So he was at least in town yesterday. That'd be nice.
Was the free zoo part of the trip?
I'm sure it was.
Hang on, Anthony, was he in town to talk to the Cardinals, or was he, coming through?
Well, I don't think he's talking to the Blues.
I mean, it is the gateway to the West.
Well, what if he was just in town visiting?
It says here, visited the Cardinals in St. Louis.
Interesting.
I don't think it's the Birds.
He didn't stop at Lambert and then go to
Guys,
LA,
I'm just
LAX.
you heard what I read. Mark Feinsand is reporting that Yuki Matsui, a 5-time All-Star lefty reliever from the NPB, visited the Cardinals in St. Louis on Thursday.
I didn't hear from Jamie, so I don't know how trustworthy it is, you know? Jamie didn't say it this earlier this week, so.
That's right.
All right,
Thank you,
enough.
Andrew.
Yeah.
But let's just hypothetically say that Jamie did say it this week.
Mm-hmm.
What does this mean for the Cards and their bullpen?
Oh, they're trying to rebuild this bullpen. They're doing their thing. Now, granted, the Dodgers are doing their thing, and they're just doing it better. But if the Cardinals could land him, I've never seen him pitch before. I'm assuming he's halfway decent if he's got 236 saves.
Does that worry you?
Does what worry me?
That some of these Japanese or Asian pitchers have never faced major league batters, yet they're coveted like this?
I mean, we've seen guys like that succeed. We've seen guys like that not succeed.
Yeah, I understand.
It's a crapshoot.
It is for sure, but it's a crapshoot on even North American kids and whatnot, because you don't really know till you get to the major league level. But it's way more of a commitment when you're guaranteeing certain financial things to players from way out there, like Asia or your
international market
players, because you just don't know.
Yeah,
I would worry about that, especially at the pitcher position. Like, you get a guy who's humming it in there in the PBR league over there.
NPB league.
Oh, the NPB league.
Jeez.
Riding bulls.
I
know he's a bull rider, but can he pitch?
But it's like,
hey, they were just in St. Louis. That's probably when he stopped by.
Maybe.
He may have. But can those batters hit? Are they, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I do. It's a risk.
It's
that
a big
the
risk.
same 2.43 ERA in 10 seasons may not translate the same way.
No, who knows?
To Major League Baseball. But, I mean, Sungwon Oh had some success here.
We got
his 2 years. He was decent.
A message from the Snake Pit. Ellipsis 150. Jamie, it's the Shohei effect.
Yeah.
So I wonder, we've had this conversation before about NFL teams trying to recreate Patrick Mahomes. I wonder if this is something similar, where MLB teams are trying to find that next international superstar of sorts.
I think they always kind of are.
Yeah,
aren't
they should. I don't think the Cardinals have done a good enough job in the international market of landing talent. I think other teams do a much better job, quite frankly, especially when you talk about some of these younger guys. The Braves with Acuna. I mean, some of these international signings, they pass. Infamously, they passed on Luis Robert when Luis Robert was reportedly down to the Cardinals and White Sox. And ownership said, you know what, it's a lot of money. And they weren't wrong, but it's a lot of money to pay a guy we really don't know. We don't know how he projects to the major league level. But that's part of the job. And it burned him because Luis Robert's a really good player. I don't think they've been as active when it comes to the international free agent market as other teams have. And I think that's an avenue that they've lacked. They've fallen behind on. You only have a couple of opportunities to improve your roster. We've talked about this. Free agency is one. The trade market in the offseason and, of course, at the deadline is another. And the international market and the draft are the others. That's it. So if you're not landing talent out of those avenues, then you're screwed.
Well, yeah, since it's all avenues.
That's it.
You just named every avenue.
Yeah.
And he said, if you're not doing it through there.
Right.
You're right, Anthony.
Thank you.
You know what? You've never been more right.
It's kind of like when you play a game. If you don't score more runs or points or goals than the other team, and don't allow as much, you're not going to win. I've been telling you guys that for a while.
It's very profound.
Thank you.
There are some soccer tournaments, though, that you could play one game and not score as many points as the other team. But in another game, if you outscore them by...
You know what they call that?
The aggregate.
Aggregate.
Yeah.
Anthony didn't know that.
So
No, I didn't.
You're not a soccer guy.
Only because I didn't care. Jeff Passan reporting. Would you want me to be honest or not?
Nice for a change.
I am being nice by being honest.
I said it's nice that you're being honest.
Oh, sorry. I misread you.
by the way, you guys were very... you guys were butting heads the other day when I wasn't here. Mm-hmm. I heard a lot about it. You guys okay?
We're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was seeping into
Well,
Today.
professionals.
show.
No, yeah,
The
we're
fact
pros.
that I can't stand him when we go off the air has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, when we get on air, it's
Yeah.
magic.
It's just magic.
But the bottom line is he had a bad attitude the other day after Chief got let go, and I tried to tell him about it for 4 hours.
Did he ever? Even if it was just ridiculous, he told me.
It wasn't ridiculous. You were not as upset. You were not as upset as I was about the Chief firing, and I thought it was
not
ridiculous.
True. You don't know how I feel inside, Anthony.
I
Even
do.
though you try a lot, you don't know how I feel inside.
You're right about that.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right about that.
Exactly.
Hey, Drew Bannister, the interim head coach for the Blues. I'm just going to transition here. He's going to join us at 5:15.
Yeah, he is.
So it'll be nice to talk to the interim head
He
coach.
can't wait to talk to us.
Has he heard the show?
No. No.
Does he know we exist?
Yeah, he knows I exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he know about the rules for the fast lane at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
He has no idea what he's getting involved with. He probably thinks he's coming on here, going to have a real solid, interesting, interview.
little cookie cutter interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be. Who knows?
Okay. All right. Why don't we talk about your St. Louis Blues
Okay, let's do that.
under Drew Bannister?
Yeah.
How long will it take to have him implement some of the changes that we could see forthcoming? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Yeah, and somehow that disappeared as the game went on. And, I think there was parts of our game that we liked, and there was parts of our game that when I look, at it right now, and surely when I look at it here tonight a little bit more, there's parts of the game that we have to clean up.
That was Drew Bannister, who's the interim head coach now for your St. Louis Blues. He's going to join us at 5:15. We'll talk to him, get to know him a little bit, following the 4-2 win for the Blues over the Senators.
Okay, a couple things here. Drew Bannister played 160 games in the NHL. He's an NHL player. He was drafted in the second round to the Tampa Bay Lightning. He was the second ever pick to the Tampa Bay Lightning. He was a good player, solid defenseman. Went on to have an 18-year pro career overall, playing and coaching all over the world, and then coaching afterwards, junior hockey, American League, and now getting his chance. What other path would you like him to take? He's literally done everything that you're supposed to do to get your opportunity, including having the player's resume. Because that's some of the people have that beef with Ollie. He never played in the majors. What could he possibly know? Drew Bannister did play in the NHL. So can we get away from that? Give the guy his opportunity. Again, this has nothing to do with Craig Berube. Craig Berube's a legend. I'd go to war with Craig Berube. I'd drink beers with Craig Berube. I love the guy. But that has nothing to do with Drew Bannister.
No, it doesn't. I think it's going to take some people a while, though, to move past that.
I know, but at least he's got a playing resume. Like, if you're going to be that way about it, like, he wasn't a player. Like, he was. He fought Tony Twist. Didn't go great, but he fought him.
I was going to say, how'd it go?
Oh, but he fought him.
He was willing to do it.
Like,
I got you.
Like, if you're looking for a guy that you're like, you know what? Like, well, Craig Berube used to fight wars. He did a lot of them.
But people are ticked. People are ticked.
I know.
They're not going to. You're asking people.
But I'm not asking people to not love Craig Berube.
Yeah, but you're asking people, Jamie, to have perspective right now. They're not going to have it. They're ticked off. They're ticked off still that Craig Berube got fired. I understand what you're saying, Jamie. You're right. There is no comparison there to Drew Bannister and Ollie Marmol in terms of a playing standard. But you're asking people to have perspective, right? They're not. They're pissed off. So they're going to be ticked off for a while. Now, if Drew Bannister wins 5 games in a row, I think people are going to change their tune a little bit here. Because winning is the cure-all to everything.
I understand that. And he's he's not even young. He's older than I am. He's a new head coach in the NHL. And so you think just because you haven't heard of the guy that, who's this guy?
That's correct.
Well, and a lot of people get upset that NHL GMs and whatnot hire recycled coaches.
Right.
One coach gets fired and then he comes to another team. And, look what the Edmonton Oilers are doing right now. They brought in a major junior hockey coach.
Yeah. Can I tell you guys something about sports fans? I'm not even talking about just our listeners. I'm talking about us here in the room, too. Sports fans.
Well, actually, by the way, he was in the AHL, but he coached Connor McDavid in the OHL. But continue.
We don't know what we want until we know what we don't want. That's just a fact. We don't know what we want as sports fans. We just know when we don't want something. We didn't want Craig Berube to be fired, so it doesn't matter who takes over. It could be Drew Bannister, it could be somebody else. It's not Craig Berube.
Yep. You
had said this a couple of days ago, and you're right. Drew Bannister's walking into the Lions then.
Oh.
When it comes to the fan base, when it comes to him uprooting his life, when it comes to him, really having an opportunity to earn the job, but it's a very small opportunity. Let's be honest about that. That's a tough task. And he's got to step inside a locker room that is not winning, didn't win last year, that had a system, a method, a philosophy drilled into them all offseason by Craig Berube. That's uprooted. And he's got to basically make it work in little to no time. Well, last night was a good start.
Yeah,
but
little to no time and with little to no practice time.
Yes.
Because today was another practice, and you try to address some things, but you got a game tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So you can only practice so many things before you have to worry about getting into game mode for your next opponent, which happens to be the Dallas Stars.
You brought up a really good point about Craig Berube when he first took over here, too. It took him about a month. It took him a month.
Oh, it took a month for Craig Berube to right the ship.
Yes. It took him a month to get the players' trust, to show that he was going to be consistent, to show that he was going to be fair. And not fair in the standpoint of, like, everybody's going to get the same opportunity. Fair from the standpoint of, I'm going to do what's best for the team. And I'm going to be honest with your role. It took him about a month. Drew Bannister might have less than that when you think about it.
He may or may not, depending on how, Doug Armstrong views this process.
Yeah. But the bottom line is going to take some time here.
I think the biggest mistake that Drew Bannister could have made, that he didn't, is come in somewhat unprepared. He didn't. He came in prepared. He'd watched hours and hours of video, spent the entire day traveling the one day to get here. And the entire day it took him to set his lineup up while talking to the assistant coaches, while going over video and certain things and points with guys and certain pairings. So he's ready for this opportunity. Is he ready to be a head coach full-time? Time will tell, but he's ready right now for this opportunity.
He also seems like a no BS kind of guy. After hearing everything that he said in his initial press conference, post-game conferences, I've really enjoyed the things that he's had to say, and I think it will resonate with Blues fans as time goes on, that people will end up liking what he brings to this team.
Yeah, and he's from Sudbury, Ontario.
Oh, yeah.
All that means is that he comes from a very, very blue-collar area. He was born and raised very blue-collar, tough area. People, the money they make, they earn. So, he understands the passion here in St. Louis. He understands that blue-collar mentality. Although he didn't play over 1,000 games and he's not on every YouTube clip beating the snot out of people, he gets it.
Yeah. He's going to have to win, though. That's it. I mean, in order for the fan base to really like him, he's got to win. People liked Ollie when he won. People didn't like Ollie when he didn't win. That's the truth. When his first season, when Ollie won, people were like, he's not bad. You don't have to play in order to be a good manager. We move the narrative all the time.
It depends.
Depending on if you're winning.
Yeah, you're right.
Last year is that scumbag, Ollie. He won the year before because of Albert. That was it. Guys.
And then in the playoffs, they lose to the Phillies, and that's where it started to snowball.
Right. Helsley had a bad finger. Couldn't pitch through it. It was Ollie's fault. Arenado and Goldschmidt were MVP and MVP candidates throughout the year. They didn't do anything the first series. It's Ollie's fault. Win or lose. We could talk about the process. We could talk about blue-collar mentality. Talk about whether or not somebody fits a system, a city, a team, a friend. It's all about winning, and that's it. Craig Berube, unfortunately, is not here because he couldn't win with this roster in the last year and a half. One before that, but even that wasn't good enough.
I don't even necessarily think that it would even be his fault if the Blues continue to play wishy-washy hockey, because then you can look at the players and then you can look at the roster that was constructed. If he wins, that's just sort of like an added bonus that he was able to get this team back to, playing good hockey consistently. So I don't even know if it's really his. If they continue to play the way that they have been, I won't blame them.
Sure.
It's the roster.
It is, and the roster would be telling you that it is a slightly above average roster or average roster, which is what we all thought going in. Mm-hmm. Which is why 3 nights ago was such a shock when you see that Craig Berube got let go. But to Jamie's first point, give him a shot. Let's see what he's got. Maybe he sees some of the issues that Craig Berube unfortunately couldn't fix for whatever reason, and maybe he can fix this. But to the earlier text too about now we've got so and so, you actually don't. He's an interim head coach. You don't know who your next head coach is. You don't know who the replacement is for Berube. We don't know if it's going to be Drew Bannister. He's the interim. He's the guy that's got the title right now. But, Jamie, you like some of the things last night, including the compete factor.
Yeah, and again, it's a one-game sample, and it's the new coach bump. I totally understand it. I get it. I mean, I've been there several times, did a lot of different coaches, and it's amazing the effect it has on it. But you know what? For whatever reason, sometimes a new set of eyeballs finds new ways to be successful. And it doesn't mean that one coach in any sport, by the way, it doesn't mean that one coach isn't as good as the other. it's that we all have our ways, no matter how it is, whether it's parenting ways, the way we work in the office, or if it's the way we coach a team, we all have our own way of doing it. And sometimes when you're so set in your ways because that's what you've been doing for so long, sometimes you don't see certain things that are available to change because you do it your way. This is why there are coaching changes. And this is not even referring to Craig Berube and Drew Bannister. This is just overall. When you switch a coach, it's because he wasn't seeing it the right way. There's coaches that just can't get the job done, and there's coaches that just get set in their ways. And then you bring in a fresh set of eyeballs, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I didn't know that team could do that. It's just because you're looking at it a certain way all the time. Mm-hmm. And if you're not open to other opinions, or if you don't have that available to you, sometimes it's hard to change because we always default back to our style of parenting, of coaching, of managing, whatever it is. We all have our own way of doing it. And so it's difficult to change while in the storm type thing.
Yeah. And you believe in what you believe in.
Yeah, of course, especially
if you have success.
If you've had the ultimate success, you believe in it. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
So, again, this is not a Craig Berube, Drew Bannister conversation. This is a change of coach, and this is a team that has to start winning and playing more consistent. Bottom line, the players share a big part in this.
3:11, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh and Anthony Stalter. So last week, the Minnesota Vikings decided to spit in the face of the number 10 spot there in the Stalter Stackup. Do they find themselves in the top 10 again this week after a heroic performance in that 3-0 victory? You'll find out next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for the Stalter Stackup. The top 10 teams in the NFL from the mind of Anthony Stalter.
It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Before we get to the Stalter Stackup, and I know nobody cares about 1 through 9.
That's right.
We all care about 10.
We sure do.
Thanks, Jamie. Marsh.
Yeah.
You read a text to us in the break that I thought was spot on, going back to the conversation that we had about Berube and Bannister. Can you read that text off?
Yeah, from the 618, nobody wanted Berube after Yo got fired. Most didn't even know who he was.
There's a lot of truth to that.
A lot of people wanted Joel Quenneville.
Yeah, they did. Right away.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They wanted Joel Quenneville and I think Claude Julien and almost anybody else out of the recycle bin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
True.
Is there, at this point in today's game, is there a huge difference when it comes to coaches? Jamie? I mean, you look around other sports, like Bruce Bochy is
Yeah. There are advantages to having a good coach. There are advantages.
I just mean, what you're looking at the coaches right now. I'm talking about. Is there a huge difference?
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's not like your systems and things like that. It's your in-game management. It's what adjustments you can make. Because it's one thing to make adjustments in football at halftime. You go, okay, we get a halftime here. We're going to take a break and adjust. And it's one thing in football to make adjustments on the offensive side. I mean, your defense is on the field. You have some time to kind of get together with your guys. It's a whole other world to make adjustments in hockey. Mm-hmm. Adjustments in hockey happen, obviously, in real time, but quickly. There's no breaks. You don't get a chance to reset.
Yeah.
And so coaches who are able to adjust on the fly with systems tweaks, forecheck tweaks, power play, penalty kill, face-off plays, whatever it is, those are the coaches that are valuable. Because everybody knows going into the game, you've watched the tape. You know what the other team's going to do. But it's the curveball they throw you once the game has started, because everybody has a tweak for whatever the matchup is. Whoever can find out, it's almost like poker. Whoever can find out who's holding the aces first wins. And so guys like John Cooper are extremely valuable. I could go through the list of NHL teams, but work your way through it. Look at some of the teams that are successful right now. Look at some of the teams that aren't. Jim Montgomery's exceptional at in-game adaptions. Paul Maurice is great. Derek Lalonde is great. Marty St. Louis, not so great. DJ Smith, we saw him last night. Senators, not great at in-game adjustments. Standings reflect a lot of how these coaches are.
You brought up Jim Montgomery. Just from reading the text line throughout the past year or so regarding the Blues, there was a portion of our listeners that were wanting Jim Montgomery to be the Blues head coach.
Of course they did, except there's a problem with that. You had Craig Berube, who was the head coach.
Exactly.
And Monty wasn't going to get an opportunity until now. If Monty wanted to hang on as an assistant coach for another couple of years and wait for his turn, I guess he could have. But let's not forget that Jim Montgomery was an NHL head coach before he became a Blues assistant coach. He had some personal issues that happened while he was head coaching in Dallas. Yeah. He's also the head coach of that team that took us to the brink of double overtime in Dallas, or here against the Dallas Stars. And he had some personal problems. Doug Armstrong offered him an opportunity to rebuild his brand, so to say. Came here, did a phenomenal job. The guys loved him. Obviously, he knows what he's talking about. Went to Boston, had a historical season. And then this year, where they were supposed to fail. They were supposed to be, they're going to be nothing like they were. They're in first place again. Yeah. So he's a hell of a coach. The timing didn't work out. That's all.
Right. We will do some Blues cues coming up at the bottom of the hour. So if you want to start sending in your Blues-related questions to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. We're going to do some Blues cues in about 10 minutes. All right, let's do the Stalter Stackup.
Okay, number one.
San Francisco 49ers, no debate, no question. They're the only elite team right now in the league. Even though they got the same record as the Cowboys and the Eagles, they absolutely took both of them to the woodshed in respective venues. Dallas at home, and then the Eagles in Philadelphia. San Francisco, clear-cut. Number one team.
Number two.
I got the Ravens. I had the Ravens there last week. The Rams, game. And really, I thought the officials, despite the fact that I was rooting for the Ravens, I'm rooting for the fact that you and I both have the Ravens as the AFC representative in the Super Bowl. I thought they got away with a lot of missed calls there on that punt return for a touchdown last week in overtime. Nonetheless, they're 10-3, 143-point differential. When the Ravens are on top of their game, they're as good. I wouldn't say they're as good as the Niners, but they're right there. It's whether or not they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. Their defense, that was a little tough to watch the defense last week. I thought Matthew Stafford and that Rams offense kind of did what they wanted to him, but most teams don't have Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Sean McVay and all that. So Ravens are my number 2 team.
Number 3.
I got the Cowboys.
What?
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, God.
Andrew Marsh was ahead of it.
Was he?
He was. He said the Dallas Cowboys are going to earn the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now, I don't see that happening, but they're on track right now after pummeling the Eagles last Sunday night to win the NFC East. Who have they played? That was a big conversation. Well, they just crushed the Eagles. If they go into Buffalo would be a formidable opponent on the road. I'm not saying the Bills don't have issues. In fact, I think every team, not named the 49ers, have issues that you can point to. But the Cowboys, that passing game is electric. Tony Pollard starting to look a little better each and every week. Still not the guy that he was in the past, but that defense is aggressive. They get the ball out. They can rush the passer with Micah Parsons. They've got a lot of the elements that you like. Now, are they going to lose in the first round? Probably.
Yep.
But for right now, they deserve that number 3 spot.
Number 4.
Had to drop the Eagles to number 4.
Ooh.
I do wonder, though, if the Eagles are in a bit of a tailspin like the 49ers were, and this is just kind of their time to emerge from that tailspin. Their secondary, especially their corners, are very susceptible. The last couple of weeks, the 49ers, really the Bills picked on their secondary, the 49ers picked on their secondary, the Cowboys picked on their secondary. At some point, they're going to fix that. Seattle might, because they got the receivers to do so. But after that, you got the Giants, Cardinals, and Giants again. And with all due respect to Tommy DeVito, I don't think DeVito is going to beat the Eagles twice, nevertheless once. Eagles are number 4.
5.
I got the Chiefs. Apparently, Travis Kelce did not go to Taylor Swift's birthday party, so
There's problems in paradise, I heard.
we had issues.
He could have.
He could have done it.
If he just would have had a private jet. I mean, he's done for practice for the day. Could have went over, had a party.
Came back.
Private jet back.
Yep.
There's a huge story about it.
He would have at the beginning of the relationship. He did that. He went all the way to Argentina.
He did.
It's funny how things change, eh?
Yeah, no doubt.
It's like a country dog, Anthony. They'll run 5 miles just to, and then once they get something on a regular basis, they're not running anywhere anymore.
No.
Sounds like they're out of the honeymoon phase.
Yeah. No, he was on his bye when he traveled down to the concert, but
he stopped.
Still,
Yeah, but that was Argentina.
that's true.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I'm saying is, I sense another album coming.
It's a good call, and we know what that means.
It's lots of money for Taylor.
Yeah. Chiefs number 5. We don't have to go over the Kadarius Toney thing again.
Number 6.
Oh, we're moving on. All right, 6.
Keep the feet moving.
All right, Dolphins.
Really?
Wow. What do you mean, really?
Really?
You think they're too high? Because I'll list the other teams.
No, I think they're too high.
You think they're too high?
Yeah,
Wait till I get to the other teams, Jamie. Then you can come talk to me.
Okay, fine. I don't really have to go anywhere. You're right in front of me.
True. Tyreek Hill being banged up, not good. Tyreek Hill's the MVP of the league. He is. Marshy kind of indicated that the other day. He's absolutely right.
No pushback here.
You saw that offense against the Titans on Monday night. If Tyreek Hill plays, great. Is he effective? Can he beat Tyreek? Because if he can, no issues with the Dolphins. If he can't, now we got some problems. Tua looked like a different receiver. He's not a receiver. Different quarterback without his number 1 wide receiver. But again, if you like any of these other teams I'm about to mention over the Dolphins, I mean, we're splitting hairs.
Number 7. Thank you.
Bills. I got the Buffalo Bills. Now, maybe I should have had them at 6 instead of the Dolphins. They did pummel Miami earlier in the year, but I don't think that the Bills' problems are solved. I broke down the 2-minute drill that the Bills had, or the sequence of events before the 2-minute. They should have lost that game last week. 9 times out of 10, you give the ball back to Mahomes with 2 timeouts and 2 minutes to work with, you're screwed. They got away with it last week. So the Bills still are not learning from some of their late-game problems, still turning the ball over a lot, but they got Josh Allen. And I wouldn't be shocked if they beat the Cowboys this weekend, with the Cowboys coming off the big win against the Eagles. So the Bills are kind of one of those teams that are slowly climbing up, but I got them at 7 as opposed to 6.
Number 8.
I got Jamie's Lions here.
Oh, thank God. I was worried. I was so worried, Marshy.
Hey, you should be, but not for the Lions. 9-4 right now for the Lions.
I knew it.
Coming off their loss to the Bears.
What a spoiler.
Justin Fields has given the Lions problems before. Mobile quarterbacks give them problems. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to go in there tomorrow and give them issues. Detroit's too good. They've kind of hit a malaise here. As soon as Jared Goff stops turning the ball over, they're going to be fine. But I had to drop them. You can't lose to the Bears. Should have lost twice to the Bears. Go ahead, Marsh.
Number 9.
I don't love this, but I got the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco looks good. Joe Flacco, like, if he continues to win, he should probably win Comeback Player of the Year. Dude hasn't played in like 10 years.
Settle down.
Looks great.
Settle down.
Their defense looks great at home. Look, I don't like any of these teams. You get past 5, I don't like any of these teams, but you got to slot somebody at 9, so go Cleveland. Who would you have? Denver? I'll throw some of the other teams out. Denver, the Rams, Marsh's Vikings. You like what you saw there? 3-0?
I like that defense.
No, I had
Brian Flores, give him a
It's all about
raise.
the D, Anthony. You know that.
It certainly is.
The D wins championships.
Anthony, that team, my Minnesota Vikings, shut out the Las Vegas Raiders, who just put up 63 points.
That's a really good point.
Goes to show you how bad Brandon Staley is at his job.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Don't be picking on a guy who just got fired.
Don't worry, Marsh. I did you a favor this week. I dropped your Vikings.
I know who's at number 10.
Who are the Falcons playing?
They are playing the Panthers.
Oh, I ain't Panthers at 10.
Number 10.
Got to do the Nope, I'm not doing the Panthers.
It's some other team in the division.
It certainly is.
Oh, no.
When I watched Jamie's middle child, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, last week do what they did, I thought to myself, I have disrespected this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team for too long. That's a first-place team. Jamie, to your credit, I finally listened. Baker Mayfield has done a remarkable job in Tampa.
He has.
Everybody likes him. He's throwing game-winning touchdown passes. You got Mike Evans. You've got Chris Godwin. You've got Rashad White. I mean, this team is a juggernaut. They're starting to get healthy defensively. Don't be fooled by the 6-7 record, Jamie. That's a first-place team, and that Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they earned this top 10 ranking. So I got the Bucs as my number 10 team in the Stalter Stackup.
Hey, you know what, Jamie?
Why do you hate them?
The curse has been lifted.
It did get debunked one time.
A little bit.
One time.
A little bit.
Barely.
Barely.
It took a team scoring 0 points at home in a dome for it to be debunked. Buccaneers, number 10. Wow.
Damn it.
You're welcome, Jamie.
He needs them to lose.
Damn it, Anthony.
You're welcome, my man. You've talked to me about these Bucs. I finally listened. It took me a while, Jamie. Took me a while,
Yeah.
but I'm on board now, baby.
Well, I'm glad you're on board now, Anthony. Sure is exciting.
Blues Q's next. 314-399-9646. We'll get to some Blues-related questions. Your Blues-related questions next in the Fast Lane.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues pick up a victory last night against the Ottawa Senators, 4-2 the final. They'll be back in action tomorrow night, taking on the Dallas Stars. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. Drew Bannister picked up his first win as the Blues head coach. He will join the show at 5:15, so stay tuned for that interview. Before the Blues game tomorrow, we'll have NFL Week 15 action for you as the Cincinnati Bengals will take on the Minnesota Vikings. Pregame for that one starts at 11:30. Once again, Bengals-Vikings tomorrow, and then Blues and Stars right here on 101 ESPN. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's Blues Cues.
All right, you heard the voice. Time for some Blues Cues. What Blues-related questions do you have for us? 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line with former Blues defenseman Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh.
All right, question from the 314. How come Steve Ott did not get the interim coach, and do you see him leaving at the end of the season?
Wow, this is a question that probably only Doug Armstrong could answer, to be honest. You know what? I think that Army looked at the possibilities across the board, and you look at Mike Weber. He's a new addition to this team, so obviously I shouldn't say obviously. I don't believe he would have been the first pick. Steve Ott, probably the next in line, but then what do you do from an assistant coach point of view? Do you call up Drew Bannister to be the assistant coach here, although he's a head coach in the minors? Do you call up Daniel Tachuk from Springfield and say, hey, now you're an assistant coach?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that right now, for the purpose that they're needing, I think a fresh voice overall is probably what Army wanted in this. Again, to be completely clear, I don't know. I haven't sat down with Army to ask him about this, and I probably never will, to be honest with everybody. I just think he wanted a different set of eyeballs completely to come in and get an independent look and evaluation of this club. And when you're the assistant coach and you're in it every day, I don't necessarily know if that's independent. In fact, I know it isn't.
Yeah.
Because you were a part of what was going on before, and so you still might have some of the same points of view or evaluations of players that are a carryover. So I think that's why Army did it.
No, I think what you said makes a lot of sense. If you being Doug Armstrong are looking at the situation and you want a fresh voice, you want a different pair of eyes on the situation, you don't elevate somebody that is already on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
And as far as Steve Ott's future with the club, I don't know exactly what his contract status is. I know that he's a really hard worker, that the guys like him. Him and Army have a relationship that dates back all the way back to Steve Ott with the Dallas Stars. So I don't necessarily see him going anywhere. I don't know why he would.
From the 636, what's going on with Sammy Blais?
Well, Sammy Blais having one of those seasons to where it's tough, right? So this is always difficult for players like Sammy Blais. You come in as an offensive type player to pro hockey. I'm going to say the NHL, to pro hockey. Then when you make your mark in the NHL, it's as a different style of player. Meaning Sammy Blais turned into a fourth liner that was running people through the wall and blocking shots and doing all those things. That's what he was doing. That's what got him to stay in the NHL. Comes back after a stint in New York, did not go well for Sammy, and he ends up playing a lot on a team that had nothing to lose. Scores a bunch of goals, has a good world championship with Canada. Then this year starts and he's not able to produce offensively the way he wanted to. Also maybe not getting the same opportunity. And here you lie here with a 1 goal and 5 assists, 6 points in 25 games. You're still running around and killing everybody. You've got the most hits on the team. I think you're I think Sammy's 4th or 5th in the NHL right now. But that's kind of his role. I think that's his role right now. I think that they want to see what other guys they have in the organization can do the same thing as Sammy Blais.
From the 618, Verona did not work out, but how are you liking Kapanen?
I like Kasperi Kapanen. I do. I know that the numbers offensively maybe aren't where we would like them to be. He's got 10 points in 29 games. You know, I think that even Kasperi would like to have more than that. But he hustles, man. He works hard. I watch him every game. He skates hard. He gets in on the forecheck. He's a really good penalty killer, which is an element that, you know, I don't know if anybody thought he'd be a penalty killer coming here. So credit to Chief on that one for even experimenting with that thought. But I like Kasperi Kapanen. I think he's got a spot on this team. If anything, he's got speed. He can shoot the puck too. So I like him. Is he long-term St. Louis Blue? Time will tell. But for right now, at least for me, I feel like he's going to compete every time.
I think he's been opposite of what Verona was.
Yeah, I would like to see a little more offense.
Sure.
From Cappy, but I mean, you don't ever have to doubt if he's going to be working out there.
Yeah, good call.
From the 314, why are you still calling this a retool? It's a complete rebuild now. Be honest.
Well, it's not a rebuild. A rebuild is when you're liquidating all of your long-term contracts and you're going to be crappy for the next 5 years because you've got nothing but young players on limited contracts. Look at back to Chicago Blackhawks the last couple of years. Who the hell did they have? Nobody. They liquidated everything, or they tried to. Yeah, they had Patrick Kane for a little bit, but it was Patrick Kane and a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And so this is why with the amount of contracts that are still on the books here, think about it. He got 8 years of Thomas, 8 years of Kyrou, I think 5 more years of Shen, 5 or 6 more of Parayko, 4 or 5 of Falk and Krug, and like you're not in a rebuild. You just can't. You're not getting rid of those contracts to anywhere. And then what? I don't even know if you have enough guys in the minors to fill those slots if you did trade those guys. So it's not a rebuild, and you know, call it whatever you want: retool, refocus, readjustment. I don't know. It's just not. You're not able to do a full rebuild.
Yeah, it's not like there's any sort of definition of a rebuild. But if there is one, Jamie just nailed it. You're not getting rid of as many contracts as possible. Like the Cubs, when they rebuilt, they started to trade away all those contracts. You know, everybody's like, oh, they're tanking. That's part of it. You're getting the contracts off the books to free yourself up for more flexibility, so that you can rebuild the roster,
and you can suck to get some good draft picks.
What happens? Let's just say like a building, for example. If you want to rebuild it, what first has to happen? You have to tear it down. You have to tear it down and rebuild it. So the Blues aren't tearing it down. If they do, then we will call it a rebuild.
From the 314, guys, do you think the boos will only get worse for Kyrou if 2 months from now he's the same player?
I think the boos are probably going to taper off here.
And define same player.
Let's just say scoring drought.
Yeah.
Turning the puck over.
Well, yeah, listen, I can tell you this. Offensive players will always be susceptible to turnovers because they're always trying to create. And offensive-minded guys always feel like they can get the puck there. I can do this. I can thread it through his skate blade onto that guy's tape. No problem.
Right.
So that's the confidence that you want in your offensive guys, because that's where the magic happens. You see some of the goals that happen, you're like, oh my God, you get you right out of your seat. Well, that doesn't happen unless they have the ability to be creative and go for it sometimes. So as far as his offense is concerned, I don't worry about the goal scoring so much because Jordan Kyrou still gets chances just because he's such a fast skater. I worry if he's not generating offense, like as a line. Like whatever line he's on, if they're not creating offense, that's when I worry. And last night they created offense. That line, Robert Thomas had 2 goals. Kyrou had an assist. He was +3 on the night. So when those things go away is when I worry.
Last one here from Thanks Dad. Should be a good one. Was the last time you guys saw high school drama like this Kyrou thing? Was it back when Zach Eflin was in high school?
You get the show.
Well done.
You get the show.
I thought he was going with Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to get into next. So what's the difference?
You want to get into Tyler O'Neill next?
What's the difference between Tyler O'Neill, what that whole situation that happened to Ollie, and then Jordan Kyrou's comments last night? Fans chose the player in one instance and the team in the other. That's next on 101 ESPN. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We opened the show today talking about Jordan Kyrou. He talked last night after the 4-2 win for the Blues, following the comments, or the no comment / he's not my coach anymore, comments that Jordan Kyrou made before the show about Craig Berube, or before the game about Craig Berube. And then he talked about how difficult it was to be booed by the fans. He got emotional. And we got a comment by Thanks Dad that was funny. And I thought he was going in the direction of the Tyler O'Neill situation. If you remember the Tyler O'Neill situation early in the Cardinals season with Ollie Marmol, I felt like because the team was losing, a lot of people rushed the defense of Tyler O'Neill. Hey, you can't air it out like that in the press conference and all that. We know that Ollie talked to Tyler O'Neill down in spring training about perceived or otherwise lack of hustle and all that. But nevertheless, it was a young player that I feel like the Cardinals fans sided with in order to crush the manager. We got a question yesterday that's actually at one point about Tyler O'Neill and Jordan Kyrou and why fans are so quick this time around to not give the player the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's just because he sat there, he said it. You really can't, even if you want to say, well, maybe he meant it a different way. He had every opportunity to expound and he chose not to.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just as simple as that. I also think, and I mentioned this at the start of the show, it's because people are still ticked off about the firing of Craig Berube, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Which is even more reason why Jordan Kyrou probably should have taken a beat and thought about what he was going to say. But do you think there's any parallels with the Tyler O'Neill situation, Jamie, and Jordan Kyrou?
For me, it's a little different because you've got one where the athlete physically says something to where it's on record. Mm-hmm. The other one's the athlete that you're like, was he or was he not trying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's Ollie's version of it, that he was lackluster effort, which Ollie was 100% right.
Sure.
And then you don't know the backstory with the Tyler O'Neill one. You don't know the backstory of how many times he's been asked to do something. Mm-hmm. You don't really know the backstory of Jordan Kyrou either. How many times Craig Berube or the staff overall was upset with either lack of consistent play or lack of defensive play or lack of effort or whatever it is, right? But the problem is that Jordan Kyrou is saying no comment. Mm-hmm. He's no longer my coach.
Yeah. You also have video evidence though of Tyler O'Neill. I mean, I guess you could your eyes could deceive you. Yeah. I thought it was obvious he wasn't hustling.
Anthony, you know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
You know how I went off on Tyler O'Neill the next day. I couldn't believe the lackluster effort. But again, it's like...
It is interesting, though, how we kind of look at it and say, oh, well, Tyler O'Neill,
shouldn't have outed him in front of all those people. He should have just kept that in-house.
Right.
Maybe he told him 112 times in-house first.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand your question regarding, the parallels to it. In this particular case, I don't think they match up identically.
Right.
But I understand the question.
Spoken word versus... I just find it interesting that the fan... who we choose to back and who we choose not to.
Well, this is interesting. We have 2 text messages. One from the 314. We talk about honesty. This is very honest. Marmol didn't bring us the championship. The next one from the 636, because nobody likes Ollie.
I don't think nobody likes Ollie. And some people do. I like Ollie.
I like Ollie, too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know Ollie all that well.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could have a beer with him.
Yeah.
I
feel like Ollie's...
You look at you there's no way that we could have beers together.
Like Aaron Rodgers.
So I'm starting to think I could have a beer with him.
Come on.
Yeah. Watching him on Pat McAfee every week might be the smartest thing Aaron Rodgers ever did, is go on that show every week.
Boy, you've changed.
So has Aaron Rodgers. In fact, I might dip into the ayahuasca with him just to see what it's all about.
I read the Athletic put together.
Plus, did you see him? He's running around after 7 days of a torn Achilles.
Yeah, we'll see.
I want to feel that way too.
Here's another question.
Some of that ayahuasca.
Here's another question regarding this whole O'Neill Kyrou thing or whatever. A lot of people are hard on Ollie. and not so much on Craig Berube. And, obviously Craig Berube won a Stanley Cup here. Ollie has not gotten to that point yet with the Cards, but both seem to have issues with the roster construction. So why are we pointing blame at Ollie as well if he's just given the roster, but we're not so much with Craig Berube with the roster construction given to him?
Yeah.
Or does it then come down to, again, he won a Stanley Cup?
Can you read the first text that you read to me the last time?
Yeah, because
Ollie
Marmol didn't bring us a championship.
There it is. I mean, I would love to have a larger discussion about it, but it really does come down to that. Chief won a cup. Ollie had one good season, one bad season, but he hasn't won anything big. He hasn't won a playoff series yet. And
Does he want a playoff game?
No, it's true. He hasn't even won a playoff game. Yeah,
all because of Ryan Helsley's finger.
All because of Helsley, all because of some shoddy defense, all because Juan Yepes, who isn't even on the team anymore, is your only offense. Stuff like that. Yeah, but it comes down to whether or not you won or not. All right, let's move on. The Gauntlet is next. Do we need a Gauntlet challenger?
We have one. We have a new one.
Okay,
Gabe
all right, sounds good.
Will be our next Gauntlet contestant.
You heard the man. Gabe next on 101 ESPN.
categories, one challenger. Can you master the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN 4 o'clock. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in Gabe. What's up, Gabe?
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Friday to you guys, man. So good to hear your voices.
Hey, happy Friday to you. So good to hear you. First time in the Gauntlet?
Absolutely. I've tried for so long to get on this thing, and I always missed out, and I'm so glad to get on this thing today.
Well, congratulations. Marsh, what the hell's wrong with you? You didn't pick Gabe once?
What are you talking about? I just picked him today.
Hey, he's been waiting so long, though.
Today's his lucky day.
Why did you wait?
Well, we have a ton of listeners.
What do you have against Gabe, though? That's what we're asking about this specific listener.
Come on now. Don't be pointing,
Hey, no
don't be
hard
pointing fingers.
feelings, guys. No hard feelings.
All right, Gabe, you're a stand-up guy. Very pro. Very pro. All right, would you like to take on Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, or me in your first ever Gauntlet opportunity?
Well, this doesn't go as a negative thought, but I'm going to take a good challenge. I'm going to go up against Anthony.
Oh, Gabe, thanks, man.
Wow.
I appreciate that.
Wait, did you say good challenge? I'm just not sure. I didn't hear my earphones crackled.
Did you come in here to hurt me today?
No, my earphones crackled.
Is that why you're here today? To hurt me?
No, I'm here because I have to be.
All right. Case made. You know, if I had feelings, that would hurt.
You don't. You'll be fine.
Good luck, Gabe.
All right, Anthony, get the heck out of here. Anthony's going to make his way to the cone of silence. I have to watch my back as he walks behind me. All right, Gabe, tell Marshy to spin the wheel.
All right, Marcy, spin that wheel, buddy.
Gabe, you got any, what's your first choice? What do you want the wheel to land on?
Sports-wise, I mean, in some regard, I'm kind of savvy. I like football, but honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go for my best on this.
All right, well.
It's no surprise.
You know you picked Anthony, right?
Yep.
Do you follow the Gauntlet?
I do.
Okay. What does Anthony usually get for a subject?
Football.
Or hockey.
Oh, man. Yeah. Hockey. Okay.
Yeah, you knew it, too. As soon as you're like, oh, no. All right, Gabe. There's going to be 4 questions, hockey-related. Each of them are worth 2 points. If you've got to use the options and you guess correctly, it's worth 1 point. Of course, if you get it wrong, it's 0 points. Gabe, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Again, the category is hockey. Question number 1. The team the Blues played against in their first game in team history is also the team they beat to send them to their first Stanley Cup final. Name that team.
All right, Jamie, one more time. Read that question.
Yeah. The team the Blues played against in their very first game in team history is also the team that they beat to send them to their first Stanley Cup final. What team was that?
So they beat a team to send them to their first Stanley Cup final.
And it's the same team they played their very first game against.
Okay. Man, I'm going to hate myself for asking for the options, but I don't want to ask for the options. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say the Boston Bruins. Final answer.
All right.
Question number 2. Name this player who finished his 14-year NHL career with 1 season in St. Louis and is the only player in Blues history to wear number 81.
Oh, man, number 81. Oh, man. As soon as I ask you to read the options, I'm gonna kick myself. So go ahead, read the options, please.
Is it Jordan Nolan, the now Sudbury Blueberry Bulldog?
That's right.
Josh Levo or James Neal?
James Neal, final answer. Dadgummit.
Real deal, James Neal. All right, question 3, Gabe. Who is the all-time goals leader in the history of the Dallas Stars / Minnesota North Stars franchise?
I don't really have to think too long about this. There's only a couple of guys, but the only one that comes to mind is Mike Modano. So I'm going to go Mike Modano, final answer.
And question number 4. In their history, the Blues have won more games over this Central Division opponent than any other team.
Oh, man. Well, definitely not the Red Wings. I know the Red Wings always kicked our butts, but they're not even in the Central anymore. I'm going to have to go... Give me the options.
Options are the Chicago Blackhawks, the Dallas Stars, or the Colorado Avalanche.
Man, my first thought was Chicago Blackhawks, and so that was the first option given, so I'm going to go Chicago Blackhawks, final answer.
All right.
All right, Gabe, we're going to get Anthony back in here from the Cone of Silence while he's on his way in. How you feeling, buddy?
You know, I'll throw the old Mo line out there. Not great.
All right. Well, Anthony's back here with us. He's going to plug his ears in here. So let's no longer divulge any secrets as he can hear us. Sometimes it's fun when he can hear us, but not this time. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Hey, Jamie. Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
How'd it go today?
How was the Cone of Silence first?
Good.
Yeah.
Mike was talkative.
He was active?
He was active. Yep.
All right.
Yep. He's got a lot to do in there, but he paused to just have a good conversation with me.
It's nice of him.
Super nice of him.
Great.
Yes, it was very nice. How'd it go in here?
You better pack a lunch.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Anthony.
What do we get? Hockey or hockey? Hockey.
Question number 1.
Do we really or no? Like, seriously?
The team the Blues played against in their first game in team history is also the team that they beat to send them to their first Stanley Cup final. Which team was that?
Options, please.
Was it the Philadelphia Flyers,
Okay.
the Minnesota North Stars, or the Los Angeles Kings?
So you have two teams that still
Nope,
exist.
Same team. This is what
No. With your options, you got two teams that still exist and one that doesn't, correct? You got the Flyers,
Correct.
you got the Kings.
Yeah.
I mean,
You still have the Stars franchise, but correct.
Right. So I'm going to go with the Minnesota North Stars.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the outlier in that question. Final answer,
Final
please.
answer. Okay.
Question number 2. Name this player who finished his 14-year NHL career with 1 season in St. Louis and is the only player in Blues history to wear number 81.
Oh. So he played 1 year and he wore 81. Options, please.
Is it Jordan Nolan, Josh Levo, or James Neal?
James Neal's the only guy I remember on that list, so I'll go with James Neal, please. Final answer.
Josh Levo was on the team last season.
I'm sure he played great. Not really.
He did for a few games with
Big
Ryan
game,
O'Reilly.
James Neal. That's all I remember.
Oh, goodness.
Final answer, James Neal.
All right. Question number 3, Anthony. Who is the all-time goals leader in the history of the Stars franchise? That includes Dallas/Minnesota.
Let's see how many players I can name from the Stars. Got Jamie Benn. Got Jamie Benn. Oh, Mike Modano. Jamie Benn. Who's the other guy that's pretty good for them? Tyler Sagan. Why don't we get the options?
Okay. Brian Bellows,
Never heard of him.
Jamie Benn,
Yeah.
or Mike Modano?
Oh. So do I go with one of the names I said or the guy I didn't know? I'll go with the guy that played a long time there. Boy, Jamie Benn, I feel like he's been there half a century too. I'll go with Mike Modano. Final answer.
Question number 4. In their history, the Blues have won more games over this Central Division opponent than any other team.
This Central Division opponent. I'm not going to ask for the options.
Oh.
Because I don't think I need to narrow it down here. I just need to pick a team from the Central. Couldn't be the Predators. Well, you've asked me a Stars question. The Minnesota North Stars were an option early on. the Stars are in the Central, and I feel like they play them a lot. Although they've played Arizona 487 times the last couple of years. Stars. Dallas Stars. Final answer.
Wow. That's a lot going on. Wow. All right.
I'm either a 100% idiot or a genius.
Sometimes they're one and the same.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go over this. Let's start with question number 1. The team the Blues played against in their very first game in team history is also the team they beat to send them to their very first Stanley Cup final. Which team was this? Gabe, you said the Boston Bruins.
Ooh.
Anthony, you said the Minnesota North Stars.
Because
they were the only team that's not around.
That's right.
Answer is...
It's the Minnesota North Stars.
It is the Minnesota North Stars. Yes.
Nice job.
Anthony needed the
Thanks, Gabe.
Anthony needed the options on that one. So it's 1-0 Anthony. Let's go to question number 3. Who is the all-time goals leader in the history of the Dallas Stars / Minnesota North Stars franchise? Gabe, you said Mike Modano. Anthony, you also said Mike Modano. Answer is...
It is Mike Modano.
Yeah.
But Gabe did not
Nice
need
job,
the
Gabe.
options.
Way to go.
Thanks, man.
We're all
Thanks, man.
tied up.
Excellent.
We're tied up at 2-2 here, headed into question 3.
We've got a shootout here.
Question 3, which is actually question 2. Name this player who finished his 14-year NHL career with 1 season in St. Louis and is the only player in Blues history to wear number 81. Gabe, you said real deal, James Neal.
Ooh.
Anthony, you said big game, James Neal.
Which one?
You know.
Which is the nickname?
Yeah, real deal. It's okay.
For now.
Answer is...
It is James Neal.
But... You both needed the options.
Oh, wow.
33.
Nice job,
Headed
Gabe.
into the last question here. To which you both have different answers. In their history, the Blues have won more games over this Central Division opponent than any other team. With the options, Gabe, you said the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, sweet, merciful crap.
Anthony, disregarding the options, you said, we had a Stars question here and another Mike Modano and Jamie Benn over here and go
Minnesota North Stars.
Yeah, Dallas. I go Stars.
It's a theme,
Yeah.
Jamie.
I go Stars. Answer is...
They play them tomorrow night. It's the Dallas Stars.
Oh,
Gabe.
Oh, my goodness.
Poorly.
You lose.
It was a theme.
You know, what tripped me up was that first question, and then as soon as you read off the options for question 1, I was like, oh, my gosh, I was overthinking that, and I was thinking Bruins, and it was not even close.
It's all right, buddy. You did good, man. You got
did.
3 points today. Unfortunately, Anthony tapped into some, ayahuasca while he was in the cone of silence there. He got all the questions right.
It's a fresh start.
He ends up
No
winning
kidding.
All good.
5-3 today. Gabe, great job, man. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend.
Yeah,
dude.
Gabe, I'm
Thanks,
glad
guys.
you got
You
through,
too.
man.
Appreciate your show. Love your guys' show. You guys are awesome.
Thanks,
you
Gabe.
so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks for
Have
listening.
a great one, buddy. Anthony,
bye-bye.
look at you go.
I should do that.
Crayon-eating son of a gun.
I should do that every time, huh?
The message
little
got-
breakdown.
the message got through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What message?
Well, you're doing better now.
The message.
The message.
Oh, that message. Yeah. Where you guys...
Big message.
Yeah, where you sat down and said, if I don't start performing well, I'll either be fired or pummeled. Or both. That message?
It's usually, and depending on the time of day, that order could be varied.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Might have something to do with a woodshed.
Yeah.
Going
Always.
behind
In the
it.
Fast lane.
Whoa.
Behind it. On top of it.
In it.
In it.
Around it.
Under it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Woodshed is always...
It's available.
It's available.
It's popping.
Yep.
Good seats still
All right.
available.
Feel good about that theme.
That was...
Although when you said Blackhawks, I puked. Because,
Yeah.
boy, they had to play them the second most.
It's got to be right there, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of forgot about the, biggest rival and all that. Okay.
But if you see the question, it's Central Division.
Right.
Right? Because it used to be the Norris Division way back when, and the Central Division was a lot more modern, so a lot less wins against the Central Division version. Patrick Kane, Jonathan Tays, those guys like that.
Yeah.
You know
Jamie.
what I'm saying?
Hey, Jamie.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me.
And Arizona just became a Central Division team.
Right.
And they're trying to catch up desperately with games against them.
They're doing a good job.
Hey, let's be honest. They're on pace to catch the Dallas Stars. Okay. More Blues coming up next. Don't forget, we do have Drew Bannister, the interim head coach for the Blues, coming up at 5:15. So an hour from now, we will sit down and chat with Drew Bannister, and we appreciate him joining us. Boy, he's got plenty on his plate. But we'll dive into the Blues again. They do have the Stars tomorrow, and what can they do for an encore here after winning the first game under Drew Bannister? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Cheap, fun.
It's holiday season, and there's no better place to go than Dirt Cheap, St. Louis's one-stop party shop. They've got tremendous selection of all beers, wines, spirits. Dirt Cheap, at Dirt Cheap, they pride themselves on having a great selection, and they pride themselves on having excellent prices. And let me just tell you something. The name Dirt Cheap is the prices. That's what they're talking about, not the quality of the items inside. They've got the high-end bourbons. They've got Elijah Craig's. They've got Blanton's. They've got so many great. They had Angel's Envy. I saw that in there the other day, the finished rye. It's a fantastic bottle. They had that available, and the price was incredible. So please stop by and check all of those things out. One thing you can do, too, is download the app. The Dirt Cheap app is fantastic. They've got all sorts of specials and deals, and they'll make you aware of different items and raffles that are coming available at certain locations. It really is a great thing to have on your phone. You can also order ahead and go pick it up inside, or some of the locations have the drive-through option. You just drive right through there on your way home and enjoy the holidays with all the selections from Dirt Cheap. Please stop by, tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you, and remember, have fun, but be careful out there.
deflected. What a play to Thomas. Breakaway shoots. He scores! Robert Thomas. The power move up the ice, and the Blues have taken a 1-0 lead. Blues deflect the puck to the front. Thomas right there. He scores! Another assist to Justin Falk.
Robert Thomas, as you heard from Chris Kerber last night, with a pair of goals. He also added an assist, 24-year-old center. Well, he's up to 12 goals now through 30 games. 30 points, through 29 games thus far. With Jamie Rivers and Anthony Stalter, it's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Robert Thomas was the first one to showcase, at least, I won't even say benefit because we still don't know, but showcase some ability with the move from Craig Berube to Drew Bannister. Not that the two are, exclusive, but when it comes to Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, who we've beaten up enough here, when it comes to those two guys, they got to produce. And Robert Thomas last night showed you why, Jamie, fans sometimes get really ticked off. Because if you're not expected to do anything, fans aren't going to be ticked off.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
It is.
Fans know he's talented. He can do stuff like that.
But I wouldn't be angry at Robert Thomas at all this year.
No, but I'm just saying, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah. So let's separate those two just for a second.
Fair enough.
Because they always seem to get coupled together, and I don't necessarily think it's fair to either player. From their bridge contract to where they signed matching 2-year deals to then matching 8-year deals, everybody just puts them together like they're twins or something. They're not. They're completely different players, and I don't think it's fair to either player to always be coupled together. So I want to start with Robert Thomas. And if nothing else this year, Blues fans should be really excited with what they see from Robert Thomas. His all-around game has continued to evolve, and he's got 30 points in 29 games right now with 12 goals. So think about that. The halfway point of the season, so let's say another 13 games, 12, 13 games, he could have another 8 goals. 6 goals. Also, this is a potentially 25 to 30 goal scorer this year. But he's a playmaker, right? So this should be exciting. Mm-hmm. So 12 goals, 18 assists, and when Robert Thomas is out there, he drives the offense. He really does. And what I like about what's happened this year is he's shooting more, and he's getting to the front of the net. Last night he had a nice deflection, knocked the puck out of the air, and buried a rebound right in front of the net. Then you flip it around a little bit. He's out there taking big face-offs at the end of games. He's killing penalties. The power play has not been good so far, and he's part of that, so he shares some responsibility in that power play. But the new construction of the power play with him on his one-timer side, it is opening up more options for him. You will see offense soon. Last night he took a shot, was laying there, Bucci hit the post. Could have easily been a power play goal on their first power play of the game. Later on in the game, Braden Shen makes a pass over to Robert Thomas. Robert Thomas goes backdoor, just misses Bucci's paddle on the back end. Would have been another goal. So that will come. So when you're talking about Robert Thomas right now, you should be very, very happy with what you have there. He is turning into a true number one centerman in the NHL, and that's great. So now if we expand that to the line, now we'll get to Jordan Kyrou, because I know he's a hot topic right now. Pavel Buchnevich is having himself another Bucci year. Mm-hmm. He's got 23 points in 27 games, almost at that point a game total, which is fantastic. He's got 10 goals, 13 assists. He's also a player that plays in every situation. Mm-hmm. He's on your power play. He's on your penalty kill. Last night, the goalie's pulled. Who's out there? Bucci. So I like those two. They're playing very well. And then Jordan Kyrou, who's kind of been the odd man out, because Bucci and Thomas have been together all year except for 3 games. I think 2 where Bucci was injured and then 1 where he played center. So those two have been, twinning for most of the season, where Kyrou has moved up and down and around the lineup for just cause, because the consistency overall hasn't been there, whether it's been offensively or whether it's been defensively or just effort overall. Jordan Kyrou has had a little bit more of a roller coaster ride throughout this season for the Blues. But one thing that Jordan Kyrou has that is so difficult to find is that speed and that skill that is high end. And I know he only has 5 goals so far this year. He could easily have 10 or 11 right now. He's hit some posts and missed some breakaways, but it doesn't matter. He still has to finish. He has to finish to make the goals count.
Yeah.
But he operates at such a torrid pace sometimes that there's only a handful of guys in the NHL that can do it. Now, the 2 best guys in the NHL to do it are Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon. They fly around at full speed, and they make all their moves at full speed. Jordan Kyrou is, a notch below those guys, but if you watch him, he's skating around at full speed, and he can make those moves at full speed. That goal he scored against the Vegas Golden Knights, he went zipping in there at full speed, cutting through 3-4 guys. Like, that's not normal to be able to, it's not easy to do that. So the upside for Jordan Kyrou is still there. A lot of work to do for his all-around game and his defensive responsibilities, but I think we also overlooked the fact that he's had a couple of real big games defensively, too. Like, even last night, he had a back check in the first period. It comes all the way back to between the hash marks and breaks up a play. Mm-hmm. But we don't notice that, right? Because it's not sexy. It's just not. So we don't earmark that and say, man, he had a good defensive play.
Sure.
We only earmark the turnover inside the blue line or, in the neutral zone because, it's a turnover. Because that's what you want to earmark.
Yeah.
So being fair to Jordan Kyrou, there's a lot of growth still to happen in his game for him to reach the Robert Thomas level. But I think under the new head coach and what appears to have been maybe a little bit of a difficult situation for Jordan Kyrou under Craig Berube, not saying that either one of them is right or wrong, it just was a coach demanding a style of play from a player, and maybe the communication wasn't that the player wanted. Whether the player is being soft in that moment or not, doesn't matter. Whether the coach is being overbearing or not, doesn't matter. It wasn't working. So now maybe Drew Bannister with the soft-spoken approach, which he seems very soft-spoken, dialed in, very matter-of-fact, maybe that brings out more from Jordan Kyrou.
And Drew Bannister will join us next hour. So 5:15, Drew Bannister, interim head coach of the Blues, will join us. We'll talk to him about what has to have been an absolute, just a busy week, to say the absolute least. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter's the Fast Line on 101 ESPN. Blue Stars pregame starting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. We also have the Bengals and Vikings pregame starting at 11:30. There's a triple header tomorrow in the NFL. Speaking of the NFL, Cam Newton said some comments about quarterbacks that a lot of people took offense to, really for no reason. I thought what he said was kind of basic. We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook for lots of reasons. They always have great promotions and giveaways and things like that. But right now, if you're a new customer, you can take full advantage of everything with FanDuel when it comes to the NFL. You get $150 in bonus bets, and all you have to do is bet $5 on the team to win. So they call that a money line bet, Anthony. Mm-hmm. And again, that's $150 in bonus bets, and all you do is pick the winning NFL team with a bet of $5.
Yeah, so if you're saying, winning, meaning they have to cover. No, that would be a spread play. Most of you know that, but for those that don't, again, spread, money line just means they have to win. So if you're looking at the slate this weekend, maybe you like the Dolphins against the Jets. They're a little banged up right now, but they are a 9.5-point favorite. Again, you don't have to worry about covering the 9.5. Just got to win the game. Or the Kansas City Chiefs. You see them winning you see them losing 3 in a row? I don't. Kansas City's going to New England to take on the Patriots. They're an 8.5-point favorite. Again, you don't have to worry about the 8.5. All you have to do is win the game. Chiefs win the game, you get that $150 in bonus bets, and then you can use that for the spreads, the player props, the over-unders, and much more at FanDuel. But you do have to sign up using FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast, and then you can play all that FanDuel has to offer. They're the official partner of the NFL.
21 and over, present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues picked up a victory last night against the Ottawa Senators, a 4-2 win on home ice. They will take on the Dallas Stars tomorrow night. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. Drew Bannister picked up his first win as Blues interim head coach, and he will join us at 5:15. Once again, Drew Bannister at 5:15. Before the Blues game tomorrow, we will have some NFL action for you. Cincinnati taking on Minnesota, 11:30 pregame, leading you up to Blues hockey. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
We have your chance right now to score a pair of tickets to see Def Leppard and Journey with Cheap Trick on July 6th at Busch Stadium. Tickets for Def Leppard, Journey, Cheap Trick at Busch go on sale today. They're on sale right now. Or you can text in right now to 314-399-9646 for your chance to win free tickets to the show. All you have to do is answer the trivia question that we're about to throw out to you and be the 101st texter to the Air Comfort Service text line. Again, at 314-399-9646. Which team was in my 10 spot for the Stalter Stackup? That's it. If you know, you're listening earlier, which team was in the Stalter Stackup at the number 10 spot, the cursed 10 spot, text in. And you have an opportunity to win the Def Leppard tickets with Journey. You can also find a bonus chance to register to win tickets to Def Leppard and Journey at 101ESPN.com or in your 101 ESPN mobile app. Cam Newton caused a small uproar for national media hosts when he said a couple of days ago that guys like Dak Prescott and Tua Tagovailoa and Brock Purdy are game managers, not game breakers. Breakers? Was it breakers? What was it? Game setters?
Game changers.
Game changers. That's what it was. Thank you, Marsh. Game changers.
But everyone remembers Game Breakers.
Game Breakers, the show.
From Street, from NFL Street, Game Breaker.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a show, too, at one point, too.
Like MLB The Show?
No, not
like
that.
Like the Big Show?
No, not that. No. Anyways.
Bigs.
Game changers.
You thinking of the Bigs?
No, I'm not thinking of the Bigs. It's fine. We'll move on. Game changers, he said. Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, I think Josh Allen he mentioned. And then everybody took him to task. Everybody crushed him. ESPN, Fox, all. Well, Cam Newton came out with not even an explanation. He just kind of was reacting to the reaction. This is what he said today on his podcast.
The first point that I want to make here is this. Identifying the difference between a game manager and a game changer. Game manager is not a negative connotation. Cam, what do you mean by game manager? My definition of that managing player is a player who has the ability to make the right play at the right time, protecting the football at all costs. There's times in my career where I figured this out. Sometimes, Cam, you don't have to take over a game. Allow other players to do that. If we're getting personal here, there was times in my career where I did it, and there's times in my career where I didn't do it. When I think about ultimate elite game managers, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, game changer and game manager is not something where I'm saying this person is not physically capable of making some great plays. I'm not saying that. Or I am not saying that they're not good players. There's really only 3 to potentially 5 game changers in the NFL right now. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. Chris Canty, I was listening to what he was having to say, and he used this as an analogy. A game changer is a truck. A game manager is a trailer. A truck pulls a team together and pulls and is the reason why this team is having success. A game manager is merely a trailer that's attached to something to make it go.
So he's saying,
woof. That gave me vibes of like the Joker in Batman when he takes over like the TV station and he's like putting on his own TV show for Gotham to see it.
Oh, you're like Jack Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Nicholson.
Like, that gave me that vibes. Listening to Cam Newton describe all this and going through, and the way he's changing his voice. It's like, what's going on here?
Well,
and do you see the way he was dressed in that thing, by the way?
He did have a Joker card in his little top hat.
Yeah, he's very...
good reference.
No,
his clothes is very eccentric. Yeah,
I get it.
Marsh, you and I were kind of talking about this before the show. When he starts breaking down the game, the trailer and the truck and all that stuff, he had mentioned early on how it's not a negative connotation to say that the guy's a game manager. Mm-hmm. But the whole analogy of the truck and the trailer, like, you're along for the ride. That is a negative connotation. To say that Brock Purdy's along for the ride is insulting to Brock Purdy's play this year.
Well,
to say that Dak Prescott is along for the ride.
Where would he classify himself?
Oh, he classifies himself as a game changer.
Did you hear him? You see all the interceptions?
Did you hear him say early when he said, Cam, you don't have to make every play. You don't have to. You can allow others to make plays. Maybe if he was more of a game manager, which is what a quarterback should be, by the way, manage the game, maybe Cam would have had even more success. He has an MVP, went to a Super Bowl. It's not like he was a boss man. He did crumble against a really good defense, but he did crumble. Jamie Marsh, name the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks right now, in your opinion, in the league. Top 4 or 5.
All right, Kirk Cousins.
Yes. Besides Kirk.
Jared Goff.
Yeah.
The NFC North.
Marsh, name the top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson,
okay,
Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, yeah. I think those are the 5 that he mentioned, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay. This is a nothing burger. What? Like, he made such a big deal out of it. Quite frankly, I think it's great that everybody was talking about, including us, because all he did was he listed the top 5 quarterbacks and then slapped game changer on it.
Well, maybe that's why they are the top 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah, but, okay, so game changer. Can Brock Purdy change a game with his play?
I mean, maybe.
I think he can.
But can he do it without weapons?
Well, you know what? Right now, he hasn't had to. Can Patrick Mahomes, with a one-legged Travis Kelce, lose games? Can Patrick Mahomes put it right in Marquez Valdez-Scanling's hands and have him drop it?
Well, I mean, that's not on him.
There's only right. So there's only so much that Mahomes can do in and around the system. Football's the ultimate team game. Now, he's talking about the best quarterbacks in the league, of course. And then he mentioned Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, like Drew Brees. Oh, you mean the record setters? The Hall of Famers?
Well, those guys were game managers in his eyes.
Yeah, they were.
Like, you're supposed to manage the game as a quarterback. When he's talking about, I'm talking game changers or game managers, and he's saying don't turn the ball over. Hello? That's your number one job as a quarterback is not to turn the ball over.
Try telling Easton Stick that, Anthony.
He should stick at himself a little bit of a rough game last night.
He had one interception.
The only one.
He did. What?
Unfortunately, he went for a pick 6, and I think he had, 3 fumbles or 2 fumbles?
That wasn't his fault. The ball was slippery.
Yeah, very true. I think what we do, and Marsh, if I can lovingly point this out, I think you fall into this category too.
Oh, come on.
I think if a quarterback has a lot of weapons, we diminish what he does.
I'm not trying to diminish what Brock Purdy's done. I'm just saying, though, when he didn't have his guys, they lost.
When we talk about Brock Purdy, what's the first thing you often say?
I have no idea.
He's got a lot of weapons.
Oh, yeah.
He's got Debo. He's got Christian McCaffrey. I think we talk about these. Joe Burrow, we say, elite guy, Joe Burrow, and he is. He's got Jamar Chase. He's got T. Higgins. He's got Joe Mixon.
Also has a terrible offensive line and went to Super Bowl with that offensive line.
Tua has a terrible offensive line, too. Terrible. But we say he's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Jalen Waddle. You had mentioned Matthew Stafford to me in the office. You think he's a game changer. He's got Cooper Kupp. He's got Puka Nacua. He's got,
But I thought he was good, though, in Detroit with
Calvin?
Without Megatron.
He wasn't putting up 5,000 yards without him, though.
No, for sure. But, he steps into that lineup, and they're a completely different team.
I guess my point is there's only one Patrick Mahomes. He is the ultimate exception. He is a freak. If we want to talk about, and this, maybe we're just getting into semantics here. if we want to talk about elite talent, God-given talents, that's one thing. There's only a few of those guys. Patrick Mahomes is an absolute freak. Josh Allen's a freak. Joe Burrow might be a freak. Then there's kind of the rest. And the rest, you better have some good weapons around him. He better manage the game, quote unquote, and he better be in a good system.
Do you find it interesting?
Most of the league.
Find it interesting that he had two separate categories and not one of those categories included Jalen Hurts?
That is interesting.
Because I've seen on Twitter, or X, as some people call it, a lot of people compare the two based on their style of play. I wonder if maybe there's...
I would be interested
to stay away from that because some people are saying, Jalen Hurts is better than Cam Newton. Then you have your Cam Newton supporters who are saying that Cam Newton is a better version of Jalen Hurts. I found that interesting.
I would be really interested to see where he puts Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen Hurts, technically, by Cam Newton's definition, is a game manager.
Is he, though? Because he doesn't protect the football. I saw on the internet they were doing drills for him falling on footballs.
Well, Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, again, that
was weird.
That was weird.
One of the biggest knocks on Jalen Hurts going back to Alabama is he's not somebody that's going to read a defense. He's got to fit in a specific system, and he does, and he's elevated that system. But he's also a guy that's got A.J. Brown and all this. I mean, I just think it's kind of a funny conversation. Cam Newton lists all the top guys, and then we're all taken aback by it. Like, of course, you just mentioned the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. If you go back 5 years ago and do the same thing, I guess you qualify them as game changers. So maybe it's just mostly semantics.
I think it's all opinionated, too. Some people are like, Dak Prescott, what are you talking about? Cowboy fan. Brock Purdy, what are you talking about? 49er fan.
Sure.
Like, it's all, obviously you're a 49er fan, so you're defending your guy.
It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. What's trending is next on 101 ESPN. Jamie, we know that our guy, Stewie, after talking to him yesterday, he's got a brand new program that is going to help you take advantage of the rates and where they are right now. He's got a program, if you call right now, that he can lock you into a low rate, make sure that if you need to refi in a couple of months because the rates, depending on where they go, if they drop, you can refi and take advantage again. He develops programs to help you pay the absolute least amount and also take advantage of his bagel loan, which means no closing cost and no lender fees. I used to call around. I don't have to call around anymore. If I used to call around, ask, hey, okay, well, I know somebody's got no closing cost and no lender fees. What about? No, nobody's doing that. Yes, Stewie is.
Yeah, he does a great job of providing different answers for people. So everybody's in a different financial situation when they're buying a home, whether it's just your FHA or you're going with a VA loan or whatever it is that you're looking for. It doesn't matter. Stewie's got something for you. He loves helping out the veterans too. So if you're a veteran out there right now and you're having trouble finding a loan or you have questions and nobody seems to answer them, call Stewie. And we're going to give you his personal cell phone number to give him a call or text him at any point. His number is 314-324-4440.
Again, that number is 314-324-4440.
Give him a call, shoot him a text, whatever it is. Holiday time, you're not sure about the interest rates, purchasing a home, anything to do with financial situations. Stewie's our guy. He needs to be your guy. And if you can't remember that number, Anthony, what can they do?
You can always Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
What's trending in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered. What's trending now?
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill to win a magical Polar Express staycation.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, I'm Andrew Marsh, and it is time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, we talked earlier today about Tyler Glasnow being traded to the Dodgers. He, of course, signed an extension. This was interesting, and Jamie, you saw this as well. The Dodgers starting rotation now has a combined 37 Tommy John surgeries. It is an MLB record. So, obviously, they signed Shohei Ohtani. They're building a really good ball club. Do you think this pitching staff could hinder them as the season progresses if injuries were to occur?
I don't think anything's going to hinder the Dodgers, because if they keep going here, and they probably will, they're going to get Yamamoto. So they're going to have a top of the rotation that looks like Yamamoto and Glasnow. They'll make some big trade if they have to, because their farm system's still pretty stocked. So, no, I think that this is a freight train, and we've only seen the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Dodgers adding talent.
Yeah, it is a freight train on paper. Now, if Shohei Ohtani, for some reason, is unable to pitch the way he's pitched in the past, or even pitch, period, moving forward.
Unable as like he's already had 2 Tommy Johns?
And then the third one doesn't have great success, then this could be interesting, because the Dodgers have gone all in on Shohei Ohtani, paying him $70 million a year for 10 years. They know he's not going to pitch in year one. So they're like, okay, we're going to pay a guy $70 million to be a DH. It's a lot of money. I mean, most really good DHs make around 20.
Technically, it's a bargain. Like $2 million.
Correct, Anthony. Correct. Still a lot of money with deferred payments on that one. But if Shohei Ohtani in year 2 can't pitch, or doesn't pitch up to par, and then from there on out he's just a 4-5 in your rotation, like, this could come back to really hurt the Dodgers. But as it sits right now, it looks like all the other guys are healthy, and Ohtani appears to be going to be fine, I guess. So we'll see.
Jamie, I'm with you. I hope it comes back to haunt him. Go ahead, Marsh.
All right, Brandon Staley has been fired. He is now out of Los Angeles. Well, his team let up 63 points.
That's it.
I'm tired of good head coaches being let go
Call me
this
when it
week.
gets to 100.
Oh, come on.
63. In all fairness, 2 of those were defensive touchdowns.
That might be more points, and obviously I'm exaggerating, but it seems like the Raiders put up more points than I've seen all Thursday Night Football long. Like, Thursday Night Football games have been terrible.
Yes.
What about last night did you not enjoy? If you were a Raiders fan and a Chargers fan that was dying to see Brandon Staley get fired. I mean, as a Chargers fan, you had to be watching that like, this is it.
For everybody.
He's done.
Yeah.
There's no way out now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are the Chargers the most disappointing team in the NFL this year?
Yes. Yes. I don't think there's a team that comes close to being as disappointing, unless you include like the Aaron Rodgers being hurt Jets.
Bengals.
I warned you about the Bengals.
The Bengals are still there, though. They're still in the mix.
Are they? At 7-6, they're in the mix?
They are. There's like 5 teams tied at 7-6.
I know a lot of people. I don't know if we were. I know I wasn't. I don't think you guys were either, but some people were disappointed about the Bears.
I had them better than they are this year.
I had the Saints a lot better.
Yeah, they've been disappointing.
But Chargers at 5-9.
That's bad.
And most of that with Justin Herbert. You got to go to the Chargers. The runner-up, I would say the Saints, and they still may win that loaded division of theirs.
Well, especially now that the Bucs are 10th.
Yeah,
Stalter Stackup.
They earned it.
Yeah, they sure did. Jerk.
It's a good win last week.
Solid.
Sticking with football, C.J. Stroud is still in protocol. He's doubtful to play for the Texans this Sunday against the Titans.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, does that? I mean, obviously it hurts their playoff chances, but how much though?
If he's out a week, could they go into Nashville and beat the Titans? Sure, they could.
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills.
Millsy.
Look, he's an okay backup. You want the backup to play 1, maybe 2 games at most, then you get him the hell out of there, okay? So could he go in there and play well and they win against the Titans? I wouldn't put it past him. I don't think that would be shocking. But if he's out for an extended period of time, no, they're sunk. They're absolutely done. And what a shame, too, because C.J. Stroud's going to win the Rookie of the Year. D'Amico Ryans may win Coach of the Year, depending on where they fall here. This was one of the good surprises. We just got done talking about the most disappointing team. Texans are clearly the best surprise. I don't think there's been a better surprise than them, right? Outside of Jamie's Bucks. No, it's the Texans. So CJ Stroud,
such a jerk.
CJ Stroud, what? I crapped on the Bucs.
Keep talking. Just go ahead.
I had them dead last in that division, and you kept telling me you're too low on the Bucs. And then finally I put them in the 10th spot. You know what you sound like? You sound like Marsh. Marsh was screaming at me last week when I had the Vikings in the top 10.
But for good reason.
You guys need to back off and just let me do my thing.
This is what happened.
Really? Okay.
Anthony fell off the Lions bandwagon and has been rolling downhill, Chris Farley style.
He didn't fall off. He jumped off head first.
Jumped off.
No, yeah. I got thrown off by you.
Head first.
Rolling down the hill like Chris Farley and Black Sheep. And he just rolled right onto the Bucs bandwagon.
Oh, no. No, I don't want him on my other team either. Go away, you Falcons fan. Don't you bring that juju over here.
By the way, since you brought up Black Sheep, Black Sheep, not as funny as Tommy Boy.
Still great.
But, man, it's got some great one-liners. When he goes down that hill, and then he looks back up, and he goes, what in the hell was that all about? It's awesome.
I love when the dogs are chasing him at the beginning of the movie.
I don't even remember that.
He's driving the van that looks like it looks like a dog, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm thinking of Dumb and Dumber.
The mud cuts?
Yeah, he's driving the truck or whatever, and he's got the speakerphone. He's like,
vote for Donnelly.
Dogs, I want you to go home. And then they're like, chase him. He's like, get off my bumper.
I just remember when he goes, vote for Donnelly, and that thing. Is that when he gets pulled over? To that same movie where he gets pulled over?
Yeah,
he's like, I can get it up to, I don't know, 100, 102? 7.
Yeah.
7 miles an hour.
Never do, of course, unless I'm chasing a cute chick in a Ferrari.
Okay. Anyways, we done?
Yeah.
Okay. Our Sports Six-Pack is next. You get a question, 314-399-9646, and in 15 minutes, we're going to talk to Drew Bannister. But the Sports Six-Pack is next in the Fast Lane.
have a question.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Time for the Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane, where it's 5:03. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with your questions.
Question number 1.
From the 636, the talk about game changer versus game manager. What was Kurt Warner? He had Holt, Bruce, and Falk. Does accurately airing it out make him a changer, or not turning it over make him a manager?
Right? That's a perfect example. Do Rams fans, St. Louis Rams fans...
He wasn't a game changer, guys. I mean, you could have put anybody under center and won with that team. Let's just be honest.
You did. You literally did. You put Kurt Warner behind center. He was a grocery store manager at some point.
He had a ton of experience in the Arena Football League. Okay, in the Arena Football League, let's be honest, things happen quicker because it's a smaller field. Players get open, you gotta hit them right away. So he had an unfair advantage on the NFL to start with.
Good call. Yeah, let's put him in the game manager. You know what he is, Jamie?
How many times
he's a trailer? He's not a truck.
How many times did he scramble? How many times did he make plays with his feet?
Right.
Never. He's game manager.
Yeah, I'm with Jamie on this one.
Question number 2.
How insulting to Kurt Warner. He had Bruce. He had Marshall Falk. He had
Orlando Pace. I could have thrown with Orlando Pace blocking for me.
Guy stunk. No. Yeah, put him in the game. He's a manager. He managed the game. All he had to do was not turn the ball over.
You're right. Thank you. Well said.
From the 314.
The more I think about this, it's dumb.
Me?
Just dumb. No, those comments.
Oh, I was say I don't blame you.
Question number 2 from the 314.
Highly intelligent.
If you could buy one professional sports team, which one would it be and why?
The Dodgers.
Yeah, probably the Dodgers. I'm thinking they're going to print money here.
Yep. I've got a tour going on with Ohtani. We're going to parade that sucker around. He's going to be like Godzilla.
Yep.
Here we go. Everybody, or King Kong. Come see the world's biggest animal.
Attraction.
Come see the biggest attraction in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Watch him smash balls. He hits a ball hard in.
Yeah, he certainly does. But I think the Dodgers probably most profitable.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The TV contract's pretty big.
Me up.
Mm-hmm.
Although owning the Cowboys, they make a lot of money, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I don't like them, but buying them would be a good investment.
I'd buy the Cardinals, and I'd spend more money on free agents.
There it is. Nice job. Nice job.
Rent the stadium from the DeWitts.
I'd buy the Blues and bring back Chief.
Oh.
Question number 3.
You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable right now. Good Lord. By the way, Drew Bannister at 5:15.
They'll get it. They'll understand.
Sticks are unbelievable. From the 314, why does traffic on Highway 40 always slow to a crawl at the Science Center and clear past McCausland, and then slow at 170, and then clear until 270, and then slow to a crawl again?
I can't help you on this one. I use 270.
The one that puzzles me is when I go to the games, I can leave here and I got a bus to move to get downtown. Everything's moving along just fine. Just fine. And we get to the Brentwood Hanley.
No. That's where I almost got hit.
It's a parking lot.
Yeah.
And then once you get past it to like Big Bend, I think is the next one, everything opens wide up again. I'm like, what?
I don't know.
What are we doing here?
It's one of those things. Wonders of the world.
Yeah, traffic always puzzles me. I get so mad at people because they don't know how to drive in traffic, oncoming traffic. They don't understand the zipper technique, Anthony. Do you know what the zipper technique is?
Yeah,
you probably do.
You take down your zipper and...
I mean, that's one way to do it.
Is it the beer pong alignment?
Yeah.
Zipper?
Well, I don't know. Here's what the zipper technique is. It's where the oncoming traffic and the slow lane work together in unison.
Yes.
So that the oncoming traffic goes, slow lane goes. Then you just one after another come. You don't have to have, and both people are at fault. The guy coming on sometimes zoom up and they want to get as far as they can and they jam in and they stop the traffic.
Yeah.
No, it's just come up nice and slow, put your blinker on. The slow lane guy lets you go, and then away you go. You don't stop. And the next two do the same thing, and so on, and so on.
Yeah, what you said makes sense. What people normally do is when they're coming onto the highway, they come in like a bat out of hell.
Yeah.
And the guy that was going, 20 the entire time decides to speed up just enough. You're not getting into my lane.
Yeah, like he's taking, you're not going to arrive home before I do.
Right.
What?
You're in the slow lane.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, they do like right here, like they're racing. Like all of a sudden they're in Bristol. On the bank at Bristol. We're just match up here.
With you. I'm with you.
Oh, then you had snow on the ground, little black ice.
Oh, forget it.
Jeez.
Little bit of mist.
Yeah.
To hell with that.
Question number 4.
From the 217, assuming the Capitals move to Virginia, Jamie, do you think they should change their name? If so, what would you call them?
The Virginia Capitals. No?
Well, I think they have to change the name, right?
Why?
Because they're not in D.C. anymore. They're not the capital.
I don't think you change your name. I think you just leave it the way it is.
It'd be Washington Capitals, would it not? The Giants and the Jets play in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to do.
Yeah, but their name isn't, New York is,
Well,
I guess.
it's
true.
right there, New York.
But the team name is it like the Capitals? It represents the capital. They play
Does
the
it?
capital. Yeah.
Like, is Arlington, Texas, is that considered Dallas?
It's a suburb.
Yeah,
Not a suburb. It's another. Yeah, it would be like
playing in Chesterfield
as opposed to like St. Louis.
Is like Auburn Hills. They still call them the Detroit Pistons. Auburn Hills was not in Detroit.
No, but I get it.
It's close enough.
Yeah. Marshy, I got one. Cue it up.
Question number 5.
From the 618 asks, Jamie, did you ever get to know any of the St. Louis Rams players while you were playing here? Yeah, lots of them. Actually, when the Rams first came in, we did a lot of cross-promoting with the Rams and the Cardinals, and it was kind of trying to build this big wave of, professional sports here in St. Louis. So I got to know a bunch of the guys, and DeMarco Farr was one of the guys I got to know. Right away, he was a riot. Obviously, DeMarco's a funny dude, so we had some fun times there. And then end up living next to a few of these guys. Orlando Pace was in my subdivision for a little bit with Mike Matheny. That was the same neighborhood. Then I moved to a different area and ended up across the street from Anthony Hargrove. Remember we talked to Anthony during the pandemic?
Yeah.
And right down the street was Steven Jackson. So 5 houses down was Steven Jackson, Anthony Hargrove, and then
nice
little old me sitting there with
hey guys,
dogs and kids around the cul-de-sac.
Sure.
Did I ever tell you that story about Anthony Hargrove?
Uh-uh.
So Anthony Hargrove is one of the nicest guys ever. He's a monster. He's a huge man. And I've got 3 small children at the time. My boys are a year, maybe 2 years old, enough to be walking around the cul-de-sac. Anthony had 2.
Still pretty young.
Yeah, they're fine. It was only, so let me paint a picture for you here.
Yeah.
There's only 20 houses in the subdivision. So it was really quiet. Nobody really came up to the cul-de-sac. And if they did, you could see them.
Yeah.
Anyways, Anthony had 2 big dogs, 2 mastiff things, 200-pound dogs that are running around. And so I didn't know Anthony. I didn't know his dogs at the time. And I had 2 Akitas. And so all of a sudden my Akitas start to go bonkers in the house, trying to tear the door apart and tear the window, trying to get out the window. I look outside and these 2 massive dogs are running around in the cul-de-sac. I think they're trying to run after my kids. And so I tear outside and I leave my dogs inside, tear outside, and I go and I grab these dogs by the collar. And I'm like, where the hell do these dogs belong? Whose dogs are these? And my neighbor's like, oh, it's that house there. So I walk over, and at this point, I knew it was Anthony's house. I didn't care. I was fired up. And I walked over to Anthony Hargrove's house, banged on his door, holding his dogs by the collar. I looked at him. I threw the dogs, just shoved them into his house. And I said, you're putting a fence up tomorrow around your backyard, and you're paying for it. I said, deal? And he's like, yeah. I called a fence company. I called the fence company. I told them to put a fence up, and Anthony Hargrove paid for his fence.
Wow.
I was mad.
Obviously, you guys turned out to be good friends.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, no, we laugh about it now.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was a little unnerving that he had these two massive dogs just running, and he didn't have like fence around his backyard, and he just get out. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Can't have that.
No.
But he ended up being an awesome dude. In fact, there's lots of times where I'd looked out and Anthony was running around with the kids in the cul-de-sac. Pretty good dude, man.
Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, Drew Bannister, the interim head coach of the Blues, joins us next on 101 ESPN. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with former Blues defenseman Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's head to our 101 ESPN celebrity line. We're going to talk right now to the interim head coach of the St. Louis Blues, Drew Bannister, who picked up a win last night with his new team, 4-2 win over the Ottawa Senators. And Coach, we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. How are you?
We're good, Drew. We're good, buddy. Congrats on the first win last night. But before we get into last night's game, I think some of our listeners, kind of getting to know you, the coach, the new coach that's here. Take us behind the scenes a little bit. You're coaching in Springfield, and the phone rings, and it's Doug Armstrong. Pick it up kind of from there.
Yeah, so the phone rang late at night, obviously, after the Blues game. We were getting ready for a game on Wednesday, so, for me that night, I happened to have the Blues game on. It wasn't on the TV, but if it's not on the TV, I tend to listen to it on the radio if I can. Had a game in the background, doing my work for the game the next night. I joked about it with Doug, like usually I'm in bed pretty early. My phone gets turned off and, I wake up the next morning and he just happened to catch me before that happened. So, if it was a couple minutes later, I might have missed that call. So, the call itself was, I think anytime that happens, you're never expecting it. Doug and I talk often, usually not that late at night, but usually when those calls come in, I know Kevin Maxwell, my GM in Springfield, was on the road. It could be as simply as, they're looking to call a player up and possibly who would that be, or letting me know who it is. It was, the call itself and the substance was surprising. At the time, obviously, very overwhelmed to have this opportunity, and be able to come and coach in the organization, and work for the staff and under Doug. It's been a privilege, in the time that I've been here working in the American League. I've learned a lot from these guys, and I said this before, like, Chief and I, I've been lucky enough to work with him and work under him and learn a lot over my time of how to work your day to day and practices and drills and he's been a really good mentor for me. Talk at times on the phone, just about our game, what we're doing, what we're seeing, how things are working for us. Obviously, Chief has been a great mentor. He's a great man and he's an excellent coach. And obviously I wish the best for him. He's going to land it on his feet real quick here, and find a job.
Coach, I can't imagine what this week has been like, although you've outlined some of, what has been on your plate. After your head stops spinning for a second, realizing, you have an opportunity. What was the first thing that you wanted to do team-wise? Like, what was the first thing you wanted to accomplish as soon as you had an opportunity to meet the team?
I think the number one thing was to, back up the message that Doug had given to me, but also in the same time had sent the message to the players themselves in his meeting, and of course with you, with the media, that I'm not coming in here to blow things up. I want them to be able, to relax and just play hockey. Initially, I need to observe some things myself, to sit back and see how things are run, see, some of the details and habits in the game and what they were doing system-wise, and see what I can implement that worked with us in Springfield if there are any changes. And I guess, for that, obviously you need practice time, starting, pretty much today we were starting to do some things with that, and had a great video meeting today just on some habits that we have to clean up in our game to give us a chance to have more success moving forward, but also enforce the positive that we did too, that we really liked in our game.
Drew, when you come in and you're a part of this team and you're looking at things and you're trying to find deficiencies, find the positives, look where the guys who are thriving go, and maybe where you can pick up other guys. How hard is it to focus on just doing one small thing at a time? Because I know myself, like when I get a project, even if it's like building my deck or fixing something, I want to accomplish it all in one shot, and not necessarily am I methodical in my thinking sometimes.
Yeah. That's a great question, and I think it's been a process from when I started coaching, Jamie, and learning under some really good coaches, seeing what worked and what didn't work, and then trying to make the adjustments to what I see when I took over in the Sioux. And I learned a lot in the Sioux, as a head coach in the Ontario Hockey League, and a first kind of kick at the can on things. And there was things that I failed at, and I had to adjust and learn. And over the 3 years in the Sioux, I had a lot of success with our team, and our team, did a lot of good things. And, I know it's more of a development league. We had a lot of players drafted over my 3 years, signed contracts that are playing in the NHL and excelling right now. I take great pride, obviously, in the development of players. And, and then, obviously when I took the job, with the Blues affiliate, that was one of the things, my development record. And all those come into play when you're the head coach. Development, especially at the level that I was coaching at in junior in the American Hockey League, is one, developing the players, developing them as people, also organization of our staff. And I think I've really kind of come into a comfort zone over, the past, 5.5 years at the American League level, learning, failing at times, and kind of picking myself back up and becoming a better coach myself, especially over the last 3 years with the success we've had in Springfield. And, to have confidence in myself that I know I'm ready for this opportunity. No doubt that I'm going to need the support of the management and the staff in some situations. There's going to be situations that I'm going to learn. There's a lot of obviously moving pieces at the NHL level that I'm going to have to work myself through. But I think in the short term, like to answer your question, I think it's been a process, right, to get to that point. Not try to fix everything at once and just pick on important things that I see right now. Certainly after last night's game, there was some habits in our game that aren't winning habits, and we have to fix those to be able to play winning hockey.
So for some of our listeners who are out there, Drew, you had a nice NHL career, an incredible pro hockey career. You go on to coach junior hockey, and then you move to the American Hockey League, the development of a lot of the players that are on your current roster right now. But now that you're at the NHL level, and we talk about the word accountability and holding guys accountable, what's the challenge in holding NHL players accountable? Because it's a different animal than the American League or junior hockey. I'm just wondering, what's your strategy with that, and can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, I don't know if it's so much of a difference at the American League hockey level to the NHL level, because we deal with players that have had pretty good NHL careers, that are veteran players that at times I have to have tough conversations with. There was a game, for instance, in Hartford this year where, our team was struggling. My first line just didn't have any energy. They were struggling in their game. and it was in the second period, and I had to sit all three of them down. And I went to 3 lines. I don't know the exact time, but I probably sat them down for a good 8 minutes to get the message across that I needed more from them. I expected more from them. In that time, we started playing some really good hockey with those 3 lines, got ourselves back into the game. Unfortunately, we didn't win the game, but it sent a subtle message. And the next day, I talked to all 3 of them. I just wanted to be clear on why I did it, and I wanted to make sure that they understood. And after that, they got back to playing really good hockey for us and being our best line.
Drew Bannister is with us for a couple more minutes, and Coach, we do appreciate your time. Obviously, you're stepping into an interim spot here, and we know what happened last time, with all due respect for Coach Berube taking over and he wins a cup. And what do you want to accomplish?
Well, I think the number one thing I want to accomplish is get this team back on track to win in hockey games. And I don't think they're far off where we need to be competitive every night and playing a brand of hockey that not only we can be proud of, but also the fan base can be proud of. And I think it's the effort. The effort level of this team, has to be consistently better. We have to be more competitive in all areas of the ice right now. And I think if we do that, regardless, if you go away and you lose a hockey game, if you put in a consistent effort, you're going to give yourself a chance to win every night. It is a tough league. There's good teams in this league. Every game's, pretty tight for the most part. And I think that's the message to the guys. Let's just become more competitive, and let's give ourselves a chance here to get back on track and start playing some good hockey.
Drew, last one for you here, and then we'll get you out and let you go have some dinner or relax. I'm sure you could use some of that right now.
It was fresh air for me, Jamie. The last 72 hours have just been spent either, in a plane, in the rink, basically getting back to my hotel. So actually, it was nice to be back at the rink today, have a normal day. Got out at a decent time back here at 3, and I just said, you know what, I just need to decompress. So I was able to get out for a walk, enjoy the weather, had a coffee, came back here, was able to throw on Live Barn, watching my daughter kind of play as I speak to you guys, and kind of working away at our pre-scout for tomorrow.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, the fresh air is always good. I do the same. I get out for a walk or a run during the day to try and, decompress a little bit. So I support that big time. Drew, last night, your first win with the team, your first game / your first win, which is great. Congratulations again on that.
Thank you.
I thought the team last night, and this is just my opinion, I thought they put together a pretty good 60-minute effort right from the start to the finish. You came out with a big start, lots of shots on goal, which was great. But from a coaching standpoint, and when you're evaluating this, and as you are, every minute you're evaluating every shift, every player, what are some things that you saw that you liked, and what are some things that you saw that, hey, we can work on?
So I think the first thing that I'd start with Jamie is it's been a tough 48 hours for that group in that room, and I was really proud of how we started that hockey game and how we were able to maintain our energy level during that game. That in itself was a big accomplishment because there was a lot of stress within that dressing room. There's no question about that. And for them to come out the way they did and the effort they put in for over 60 minutes, I was really impressed with. I think on the negative side that we talked about was game management. There's areas of the game when it was 3-1, when it was 4-1, that we didn't manage the puck and manage the game very well. We just got to do a better job of picking our areas when to attack and making sure that we make good decisions with the puck. And if we don't like what we see, that we're forcing a team to come 200 feet all the way, and they got to come through numbers through the middle of the ice, and we're forcing things to the exterior of the ice.
Coach, again, we appreciate the time. We know this has been a whirlwind for you. Thank you, and best of luck. We're certainly, looking forward to kind of watching how things play out here. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate your time.
All right, thanks a lot, Drew. Go have a bite to eat and a nap.
Thanks, Jamie.
Right,
you guys
buddy.
take care.
You too. Thank you, Coach. That's Coach Drew Bannister, the interim coach. Look, ultimately, Jamie, the wins and losses are going to dictate things. That's just the bottom line, right? My feelings aside for Chief, and people know him, and people know how ticked off I was 2 days ago. You were too. My feelings aside for Chief, I hope he does very well. I hope Drew Bannister does very well. I hope he turns heads. I hope he wins. We ultimately want to see the Blues win. It's been an emotional couple of days. I can't imagine what that's been like for him and his family.
Well, can you imagine, too? We didn't get into the whole Kyrou situation. I just didn't feel like it was necessary.
He addressed it last night.
He did. Yeah, he did. And he just, that's another thing that was put on his plate right away as a new head coach. One thing I can tell you about Drew Bannister that I've learned in the last 48 hours, he knows exactly what he wants to accomplish with this group. And he has a plan that he's got in place. And that, to me, is the best possible way to go about it if you're a new head coach coming into a situation that is stressful and you're coming in mid-season or during the season, rather. You have to be prepared. If you come in, you're like, well, we're going to just evaluate and go from there. I mean, it's one thing to say that, but, talking to Drew and listening to him talk to other media outlets and whatnot, he has a very direct idea of what he wants to accomplish. And I like that.
Yeah.
Be prepared, be ready to go, and be ready to work. And he's all of those things.
No doubt. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Blues Stars pregame tomorrow at 6 o'clock right here on 101 ESPN. We're going to thrive.
Hey!
Is it a Friday?
You know what it
About
is.
5:30?
You know what it is.
Yeah. We're going to fly through our Pick'em Challenge picks next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues picked up a victory last night against the Ottawa Senators, a 4-2 final. We just talked with Blues interim head coach Drew Bannister. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. You can also find the full show there as well. We talk some Blues hockey, some NFL, as well as some Cardinals baseball. A little Cardinals baseball sprinkled in there. But once again, if you missed anything, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or use the free 101 mobile app. The Blues will be back in action tomorrow, taking on the Dallas Stars. Pregame starts at 6 o'clock. Puck drop is at 7. And before that, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Minnesota Vikings, 11:30 a.m. pregame show, leading you up to Blues hockey. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Get ready to pick 'em. It's the Fastlane Football Pick'em Challenge on 101 ESPN.
Refreshed by Bud Light.
Well, you sure know how to pick 'em.
All right, we'll go through our picks real quick. We got 3 Saturday games tomorrow, so a triple header in the NFL tomorrow. Vikings, Bengals, Marsh's Vikings versus the Bengals, Steelers, Colts, Broncos, and Jamie's third child, the Detroit Lions. Marsh, did you go with your Vikings against the Bengalis?
Absolutely. I don't think Brownie has anything for that Minnesota defense. I believe they've only let up like 1 touchdown in the past 3 games, something like that.
They've been great.
So, I mean, when you stop a team that scores 63 points and they don't score anything on you, I mean, you got something good going.
He's got a point.
He certainly does. Did you take the Vikings?
No.
No. Okay. Neither did I. Yeah. Flores' defense giving up 5th fewest points in the game thus far in the league. Brian Flores has done a remarkable job. Should be a head coach again next year. Vikings have also scored 13 points in their last 2 games. And they're going Nick Mullins.
Hey, it's a new quarterback. New game, it's a new day.
New day.
Anything can happen on any given Sunday.
I got the Bengals.
Or Saturday.
True. Steelers or Colts? Jamie?
I have the Colts in this game.
Yeah, I don't trust Mitchie football.
Nope.
So give me them Colts.
I have the Colts as well.
All right, so
even though
trust Mitchie football.
Last year, I believe on this same very weekend, the Colts played the Vikings.
Yeah.
And they were up 30.
They were.
And they lost.
Oh, boy,
yes.
Yeah, they did.
Yes, they did. We're biggest upset in NFL history. In fact, the only one we should probably ever talk about. Lions or Broncos? I got the Lions, even though they've played like toilet water. Pea water.
Detroit water?
Detroit water, that's right.
I got the Lions.
If Jared Goff stops turning the football over, they should be good.
Yes,
Broncos have forced a lot of turnovers as well. But home team, Lions have played different at home. They don't play well against mobile quarterbacks, but I don't think Russ is going to run around too much tomorrow. So give me Detroit.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Nice.
Oh, my God.
Packers or Bucks, guys?
Oh, I got the Bucks. That one.
Yeah, I have the Packers rebounding from last week's loss to Tommy DeVito. And, of course, the Buccaneers are number 10. Although we did establish that the Stalter Stackup curse has been broken.
There is no curse.
Well, not anymore. So maybe the Bucs do win. I don't know, but I have the Packers.
Do we all have the Dolphins over the Jets, even though they're banged up?
Yes.
Yeah. Saints over the Giants?
No. Yes.
You took the Giants.
Tommy
Good for you.
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Come on.
You know Marshy's a prisoner of the moment. How many times has this happened?
Hey, just because he throws 3 interceptions doesn't mean that they still lose to the Saints.
That's
and Derek
true.
Carr.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, I'm gonna go with the Saints in that one. I've got the Titans over the Texans. The Texans likely without C.J. Stroud. We already know that Tank Dell is out for the year. Texans are really banged up.
Yeah.
Or else I'd be on Houston. But I got the Titans. You?
Me too.
Marsh?
Yes.
I got the Panthers upsetting the Falcons.
Oh, come on.
Only a 3-point underdog is Carolina. They're going to get their second win of the year as Desmond Ridder turns the ball over not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 6 times on Sunday. Panthers win outright.
It could be a packed house considering the tickets I saw are
45 cents.
45 cents.
Yep, they're going to pack that sucker to root on their Panthers. Again, they're going to get their second win of the year. You guys on the Panthers?
I picked the Falcons.
I have the Falcons as well.
Sorry.
Browns are at home, so I'm picking the Browns. If they were on the road, I would pick the Bears. That's where we're at with the Browns right now.
The Browns.
Joe Flacco's turned back the clock, though. Give me the Browns.
He's on the practice squad again.
Yeah, until he gets elevated.
He's on the practice squad.
He'll get elevated.
I have the Bears.
You got the Bears winning?
Yeah, some say that
against that defense in Cleveland.
Know. Some say that Justin Fields and DJ Moore are one of the better wide receiver quarterback
Prisoner of the moment,
combos.
Anthony. There he is. He's back again.
Hey, guys, you know we do the whole trust but verify thing? I am so glad I looked at my picks because as of right now, I have the Patriots over the Chiefs. I'm going to go ahead and put the Chiefs in now.
That,
I don't know. So let me change it now. Now I have the Chiefs. That would have been bad, guys. That would have been real bad.
Yep.
Chiefs over the Patriots. I'm sure you guys do too. 49ers over the Cardinals. Nothing to discuss there. Rams over the Commanders, right? Marsh, you're going to go with another upset?
No.
This is the big one. Bills, Cowboys. I took the Bills.
I took the Bills, too.
I think this is a spot where the Cowboys, coming off the big win against the Eagles, go up to Buffalo.
A little too cold for Dacky. He's so cold.
The disrespect that you have for Dak is unbelievable.
When I hold the ball, it's like an ice block.
He doesn't sound like that at all.
He will on Sunday.
Okay, give me the Bills.
I have the Bills, too.
Just because your hatred of the Cowboys?
Maybe.
Okay. I got the Ravens over the Jaguars.
Yes.
And the Eagles over the Seahawks.
Yes.
There you have it.
I have the Jags.
Do you?
Yeah.
Beating Jamie and I's ball, beating Chiefs Ravens. Now it makes sense.
You know what?
Trying to cut Chief out of the first goal of the game.
Yep.
Sounder yesterday.
Hey,
and
first goal of the game, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you won.
Yeah,
you had Robert the Thomas, right?
Yes, I did.
Nice job, Jamie.
He's
on the board now.
I don't have the Jags beating the Ravens. I have the Ravens beating the Ravens.
He's playing that game.
Yeah, I don't kind of respect what you said because I've been saying that there. Now I got the Ravens. All right. And in the battle of the birds, I got the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fade or Follow is next. We'll wrap up the show here on 101 ESPN.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, has you covered when it comes to the NFL. We were just talking about the NFL 2 seconds ago. We're talking about the pick 'em, right? That means you just pick the winner.
That's it.
Well, right now, new customers over at FanDuel get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. So that's the pick 'em bet is what it is. You pick the best team to win, and if you win with a $5 bet, you get $150 bonus bets with FanDuel.
Boom. So pick the 49ers over the Cardinals.
Seriously.
Or the Chiefs over the Patriots. All you have to do is win. That's it. You don't have to play the spread. You don't have to parlay it. Nope, just win the game. And then you get $150 in bonus bets courtesy of FanDuel. Then you can play the spreads, the player props, same game parlays, whatever you want to do with that. $150. It's your choice at FanDuel, but you have to get signed up. FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast. And then you can take advantage of the promo that we just told you about, all courtesy of FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
21 and over, present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues not withdrawable bonus. Best that expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's time for FanDuel Fade or Follow on the Fast Lane.
Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more.
Everyone follow us.
I'll fade.
Money, 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 money.
Time to play Fade or Follow with our guy Connor's back for round 2. He pushed last week. He had the Vikings in that absolute thrilling victory over the Raiders. Push, so doesn't win the FanDuel money, but is back for round 2. What's up, Connor?
Not much. How you guys?
We're doing good. Were you sweating bullets in that one?
Oh, my. That was miserable.
It was miserable. Sorry we put you through that. We will put you hopefully through a better game, and we're going to do the Sunday Night Football game. Now, Jamie and I are aligned on this. Marsh is not, but our selection is the Ravens -3 against the Jaguars, who are still banged up. Now, the Jaguars did beat the Ravens last season in Jacksonville, but Baltimore with that defense, and really Lamar Jackson and company going against that Jacksonville defense that can give up a lot of air yards. We like laying the 3 with the Ravens against the Jaguars. Would you like to fade us or follow us tonight?
Let's run it back. I'll follow.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe we'll get another push. We'll just keep this going, huh?
That's right.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It'd be fun for everybody.
No.
All right, Connor, you got the Ravens -3. Sunday Night Football. Good luck. Let's hope we talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too. And don't forget FanDuel.com/fast to participate in FanDuel, especially that great promo that they have going on right now. $5 money line bet to win $150 in bonus bets. If you missed anything from today's show, including our conversation with
101 ESPN Breaking News Alert.
Yeah,
Atlanta Braves have acquired left-handed pitcher Ray Kerr and DH Matt Carpenter and cash considerations from the San Diego Padres in exchange for minor league outfielder Drew Campbell.
Oh.
Matt Carpenter's a Brave now. What do they see that we don't, Anthony?
We get the breaking news for that.
We get the breaking news for that. That's what I was saying.
You
interrupted my the podcast thing.
Yeah, it's Matt Carpenter. Come on. It's a future Cardinal Hall of Famer.
I thought he was going to do the Yamamoto thing.
That's what I thought, too.
This is way bigger.
Yeah, it's a Trojan horse.
Why didn't you say that?
The breaking news was a Trojan horse.
Yeah. Why don't you do like Michael Wacha signs with the Royals at the top of the show?
It's Matt Carpenter, guys. Is Michael Wacha a future Cardinals Hall of Famer?
No. But,
Matt Carpenter, yes.
Jamie, he's on suspension now for the breaking news.
To end the week?
I'll just start yelling stuff.
It is Blanket Friday.
It is. We totally made it that.
Yeah.
That's
Anyways,
big news, guys. Gonna get another kick at the can.
The podcast brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, by the way. Had a conversation with Drew Bannister. It just seems flat now. For Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, and Anthony Stalter. Have a great weekend, everybody. Got a lot of football and blues tomorrow. See ya!